Good evening, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome to Cantina Social Hour. It is great to be here. It is great to see you all in the chat hanging out. How are you guys doing? It's great to be here. It's great to see you. And I love you guys. Thank you for hanging out as always. See a lot of my favorite people in the chat. Thank you guys for being here as always. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on these Friday nights, these Cantina Social Hour Friday nights. Yeah, good evening. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Happy Friday. And yeah, all right. So, well, we are here. Let's get right to it then. So, tonight we have a range of topics to cover. Lots of new releases, reveals, and acquisitions that I have here that I want to talk to you about that have been in the news this week from different toy companies, different things that have been happening in the toy world. But it's great to be here, and thank you guys for hanging out with me. We also got the one and only Mike Kaess returning to Cantina Social Hour. He's back tonight, so we're going to be bringing him in just a little bit here. All right. So to get things started, at the very intro of this show, and first of all, thank you guys for bearing with me. I had an audio issue that took a long time to get resolved. I resolved it, but it wasn't easy. There was some behind the scenes shenanigans I had to run through to resolve it, but sorry. I guess first things first. So going forward, I've decided that Cantina Social Hour is going to be starting at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. As you may recall, it used to always be 7 o'clock Pacific. Then earlier this year, I changed it to 6 p.m. Pacific. But I think I'm going to find a happy medium at 6:30 p.m. just because it's a little bit from the time I get off work and rush to get home and then rush through dinner and then set up, get everything ready for the show. It's a very impacted time block for me, and it gets a little bit stressful cramming everything in there. So I hope that's okay. I hope you understand if I shift the time beginning next week to 6:30 p.m. Pacific. Let me know what your thoughts are. Hopefully that's not a big deal. And I have noticed that we get more people hanging out in the show after 6:30 anyway, so maybe that's actually a better time for it to happen. I know if you're on the East Coast, that's a little bit later for you, but for me here on the West Coast, like I said, by the time I get off work and then rush home, have dinner, it's just a little bit of a time crunch for me, and kind of stressing and rushing, and of course I want everything to be as flawless as possible. So thank you for your understanding. I really appreciate it. And at the very beginning of the show, the very opening of the show, as I was saying a moment ago, what you heard is the brand new single from my upcoming album. Interstellar Traveler is the name of the song. This album is dropping on December 3rd, as you probably know. This is an album that has been years in the making. These are songs I've been using on the channel and on the podcasts for years, as far back as 2018. And I've been doing work on all of them to lengthen them, to improve them, add some new riffs, add some new keys, just doing my thing to make them a little album ready, so to speak. So I'm really prepping for this album. I'm putting time into it every day, and I'm very excited about it. So there's 2 singles that have been released. You've heard Clone Witch, which of course had the little mini horror movie to go along with it, and then now Interstellar Traveler. So if you'll indulge me for just a moment, Interstellar Traveler for me is a tune that it conveys the sense of somebody leaving home, I guess, leaving Earth, like a fish out of water, just kind of experiencing everything new for the first time. Are they literally in space, interstellar traveling? Maybe. I feel like they are. And they're seeing these amazing things for the first time ever. The universe, quasars, nebulas, all these colors, pinks, blues, greens, purples, and it's just beautiful. It's just fascinating, and no one has seen these things before. It's like brand new. Maybe that's a metaphor for something else. But at the end of the day, the traveler realizes that, although they're experiencing all these amazing things, at the end of the day, they are ultimately alone because they're traveling alone. They're seeing all these wonderful things, but there's no one there to share that with. So, I think all of my tunes on this track, as I tell you each week, they have a theme behind them, and of course, it's just instrumental music. There's no lyrics or anything. But I have my own interpretations, and I've heard from other people how they're interpreting these tunes. So, whatever you think of them, whatever your interpretation is totally valid. So, Interstellar Traveler, it is out now. You can get it wherever you listen to music. It's on Spotify, it's on Apple Music, it's on Amazon Music, YouTube Music, whatever Google Music is called these days. I think it used to be called Google Play, but it's not anymore. It's also on Tidal, my favorite streaming platform, Tidal, because if you listen to it on Tidal, you can actually listen to it in lossless format. That means that it's 100% as I recorded it. So the quality is just top notch. It's perfect. The next song will be released on Tuesday. As you know, I'm releasing one song every Tuesday until the album drops on December 3rd. The next song is called Haunted House. And if you've been watching my channel for years on end, no doubt you've probably heard it at some point or heard bits of it at some point. It's actually one of my oldest songs. So yeah, I'm very excited. December 3rd, Sounds of the Cantina. It'll be available anywhere you get your music. And I'm very excited. I'm very, very, very excited for it. And ain't nothing going to take away my excitement for this album. I'm super, super, super thrilled about this project. So again, write on your calendar, December 3rd, Sounds of the Cantina, 12 songs. 5 are going to be released between last week when you heard Clone Witch all the way through December 3rd. So you'll hear 5 of them before the album comes out. And then the other 7 will be, is my math right? Yeah. The other 7 will be available on the album exclusively. All right. So another housekeeping thing here. I know I've mentioned this before. If you're ordering from Entertainment Earth, please use promo code Victoria. If your item is in stock, you will get an extra 10% off. I know they're running some free shipping right now. I think it's like $39.99. So if you order a couple of figures, a couple of, whatever you're collecting, if it's in stock, you'll get another 10% off using that promo code Victoria. Other than that, I think we are good on housekeeping things. I do want to look in the chat and see who's here with us before we get started and bring in Mike here in just a moment. We got Dodgson in the house. What better way to spend a Friday night than at the Cantina? I can't wait to enjoy the night with my fellow Cantinians. Thank you, Dodgson. I really appreciate that. And as always, it's great to have you with us. We got Adam in the house. Adam is our bouncer, our moderator, our admin here in the Cantina. He's making sure everything is going smoothly. And it always does. Usually if there's something that's not going to go smoothly, those people don't comment during the stream. They wait, and then they comment after the stream on the regular comment section. That's what I've noticed. So thank you guys for keeping it positive. Really appreciate it. You might be able to hear my voice. I'm still trying to get over this darn cold. It's been like over 2 weeks now, and it's like still, I'm way better now. I'm like 90%, but it's still kind of lingering just a little bit. Rick, it is great to see you. Happy Friday to you. Gonna need more drinks for tonight. Put it on my tab. We appreciate that, everybody. The next round available courtesy of Rick. We'll get that started. Thank you, Rick. Scott's in the house with us. Hey, Scott, what's up? Here's to a nice Friday night talking after toys after a long week. Thank you. Definitely a long week. William, what's up, William? Good to see William Rodriguez as always. We got Paul in the house. What's up, Paul? Good to see you as always. We got Jeff Russell hanging out with us. Bourbon in hand. Happy Friday. Sounds good to me. Happy Friday to you. My pal Susan's in the house. Hey, Susan, what is up? Long week. So happy to spend the evening with you all. Thank you. We're happy to spend it with you too. Let's see here. Scott, how's it going? Are we live yet? I'm not sure exactly what let's see. The timestamp was 6:04. We were not live yet because of the audio issues I was trying to navigate, but that's what I mean, guys. 6:30. 6:30 is going to be a lot better. Let's see. Peak Obi-Wan, what's good? Peak Obi-Wan, good to see you. Chad, how are you doing? We got Susan. I already said hi to Susan, but I'm going to say hi to Susan once again. We got Lorena in the house. Lorena, how's it going? Happy to be here patronizing Victoria's Cantina, having an ale after doing some mail opening from the week. Hold on to that mail, Lorena, because we're going to have new acquisitions at the end of the show, as always. Anything brand new you guys have added to your collection, we'll call it out. We'll talk about what I've added. We'll talk about what Mike's added to his collection recently, too, for our little show and tell segment. Adam says we may have a quick food fight before Victoria starts. Okay. All right, let's set some ground rules here. If you're going to have a food fight, we got to keep the floors from getting slick. So I'm okay with... usually people throw tomatoes, right? Is that what people are going to throw if they don't like what's being said? So tomatoes can get kind of juicy and slippery. Maybe we can throw hamburgers. I don't know why. I'm just thinking hamburgers are going to be less messy. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're loaded with like condiments and stuff. They're going to be really slippery. I don't know. Now I'm rambling. All right. Anyway, proceed with the food fight. Blue milk. Oh my goodness. Warm blue milk. Ugh. I don't know about that. Maybe for hot chocolate. Hot blue milk chocolate. I'm not sure. We got to figure out where the exit is, the emergency exit in the canteen is. I don't even know where it is. Maybe there's no emergency exit. Maybe we're not up to code yet. Disney World Merry Christmas party starts tonight. Can't wait to be there soon. So already? Oh wow, that's crazy. I feel like I'm still in Halloween mode, honestly. Like that's just crazy to think. Tonight we spiked the blue milk. I'm down. What's up, Trevor? Good to see you. Music, yeah. Let's see here. Who else is with us? Yeah, Mary. Hey, Mary. Good to see you. Also, we got Tariq with us. What's up, Tariq? Good to see you. Hey, Bob. Thanks for doing this. It's been a depressing week. Hopefully, this can lift some spirits. I hope so. J Dog, the Hut. Hello, Victoria and all. A little late here from Wisconsin. Good to see you. The later, the better. Thank you, Lauren. I appreciate that. Write some fiction while listening. Yeah, I hope it inspires you in some way with your writing. Yeah. And Britt is excited for Haunted House. I'm excited for Haunted House because it's one of the oldest songs that I've done in this. I mean, I'm rambling. You know, I have a musical background. I used to be in a band. I used to do like actual like recordings with like singing and all that. But this is like my channel persona's music, I suppose, if you will. Not that it's a persona, it's the actual me, right? But yeah, Haunted House is pretty cool. It's a little bit more of a slow jam than the other two, but in a much more haunting way, hence the title. 6:30 sounds good. Okay, glad to hear that, Rick. Thank you. And yeah, thank you for listening to the music. Adam says you should make a behind-the-scenes video of your process because we can't ever just let you rest. I mean, yeah, if the opportunity presented itself, then yeah, I'd love to do that. Runner Base, how's it going? Ian, how's it going? Tom, how's it going? Good to see you. Need this positivity tonight, don't we all? Charlie, when is Aries the Wizard going to be on the show again? That's a good question, Charlie. I know Aries is very busy. He's got a lot going on, but yeah, I'll talk to him and see if he's down. I'd like to bring him on like in December. I think that'd be a good time to have him on. Yeah, all right. Cool. So before we bring Mike in, you guys, we're going to address the bantha in the room, I suppose. I'd love to have a bantha in the room, like an actual bantha. That'd be really cool. As you may have seen, a lot of you follow me on Instagram. Instagram's the main social platform I use outside of YouTube, of course. I posted some thoughts last night regarding this week's developments in terms of news within the United States, election news. And of course, anytime I try not to post. I try to keep things to toys for the most part. Toys are like my adjacent interests, like the music for the channel, like the movies, stuff like that. Disneyland, stuff that's somewhat adjacent. But I'm not really a political person, but I felt I had feelings and thoughts that were welling up inside me, and I just felt like I needed to release those thoughts into the universe. So I made this post talking about, my feelings, my sentiments about what's happened this week, um, what's been in the news this week, and how the election resulted. And of course, the post got a lot of attention, and it also lost me a lot of quite a few. I won't say the exact number because every time I check it changes, but it cost me quite a few followers, and that's all right. It's not about that. It's not about the follower count. People want to follow or unfollow. That's their prerogative. I don't really. That's up to them, not up to me. But anyhow, I know a lot of people are hurting right now. A lot of people are concerned. A lot of people are worried. A lot of people are fearful for what the future will bring come January 20th. And that includes me. I am one of those people. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe a lot of people that feel that way don't need to feel that way. I hope that's what the case is. I hope that we're all, feeling sad and worried for no. Hopefully, it's not going to be it's not going to be warranted. Hopefully, we'll have worried and grieved and processed, and then one day it's not going to have it'll have been for nothing. That's what I hope. I hope to be wrong. I hope that everything is amazing in the next few years. But the truth is that if you look at the past, if you look at the 8 years ago, if you look at human history, if you look at how things have changed in other countries over the decades, over the centuries, and you look at what's happening now, all the signs point in one direction. And I outlined my thoughts in that post. All the signs, in my opinion, in my view, and I don't want to say I'm just, I read a lot. I study a lot. I studied political science in college. All the signs, in my opinion, point in one direction. They point towards a very dark future that'll have implications for centuries, not centuries, for at least the next couple of decades. I would say a generation, maybe more, depending on how deep things go. There's no guardrails. Doesn't seem like there's going to be guardrails this time, as there were last time. There's more organization. There's more interest in latching on. It's like when you see the sharks and they have like those menorahs on. What are they called? The little fish, something like that latch onto them. That kind of a thing. And I think people are right to be fearful and to be unsure and to be uncertain and to have these feelings. And again, maybe it'll be unwarranted, and that's what I hope to be the case. But if they do, I don't think it's productive to tell people that they don't need to worry, that they don't need to be scared, that they're ridiculous, that they're being dramatic. I don't think any of that's helpful, and I think people have every right to feel the way that they feel. In my view, all the signs point to darkness. I hope that I'm wrong. I want more than anything else to be wrong. I've never wanted to be wrong more than anything in my life, but I'm very, very concerned for many folks out there, for racial minorities, for women, for the LGBTQI plus community, for friends and family, and people just trying to just fighting for the right to exist. I'm worried for the progress that has been made over the last 50 years in a lot of ways for a lot of folks, in the last decade, in the last 2 decades, in the last several years. I'm worried about regression. I'm worried about going backwards. I'm worried about where things may head. And, I'm sure some people are going to comment on here and say, oh, Victoria, I'm unfollowing you, or Victoria, I'm, you're ridiculous. You have no, you're going to be okay. Okay. I'll determine if I'm okay. Do not tell me that I'm going to be okay, that I am okay. I will make that determination, as I always have my entire life. I've survived a lot of stuff over the decades, much of which I've never spoken about. I mean, if you've been following me for any length of time, you know I've I've talked about some of it. I've talked about like health stuff. Um, I always pull through, and I think it's okay to be afraid. It's okay to be worried. It's okay to be fearful. Um, but I think, once we've had time to process and to grieve and to go through our concerns and our worries, that we also need to keep moving forward, because any position, any powerful positions, anybody in power, with immense power, with lackeys and people that will carry out whatever such a person would want, the last thing they want is for people that are not in power to be in hiding, or to be, that's what they want. They want people to be in hiding. They want people to be unorganized. The last thing they want is for those people to speak up. So I think it's important to speak your mind. It's important to be vocal. It's important to stand up for people that don't have anybody to stand up for them. And it's important to be positive and to keep fighting. It's important to build community, to know who your friends are, to know who you are as an individual, and to stand up for what you feel is right. At the end of the day, we're here on Earth for a very short amount of time. And I know that when the time comes, the last thing I want anybody to say is, Victoria, she was off, doing her toy thing, and, having a good time, which, that's part of it, sure. But the last thing I'd want anyone to say is that, Victoria, when the time came, didn't do enough. So, you're going to see some changes from me not in terms of the toy collecting, but there will be changes that you may or may not be aware of in terms of what I'm preparing for, what I am doing, in terms of my organization, in terms of who I'm working and networking with. And I think we all need to do that. I think being prepared is just the best strategy anybody can have, and networking and building community and building a good team around you, a good support network is going to be very important, because there's no you can't get trampled on. You got to keep moving forward. You got to keep your head up. You got to keep fighting. You got to know who you are and stand up for what's right. And I'll leave it at that. Maybe Mike, in just a few moments, will have some more thoughts he wants to share on that. But I'm going to go ahead and bring him in. It's been long enough. So coming back to the Cantina, I think for the first time since earlier this year, I want to say, we got Mike Kaess joining us. So let's go ahead and bring him in. So the fun begins. Mike, how's it going?
Great, I guess. Relatively great. Fine. No, it's okay. I'm going to downgrade to okay. It's a natural inclination for me to be like, oh no, everything's fine, everything's great, because I want that to be true. But it's also important to acknowledge it's not, and that's okay that it's not. But I'm not going to ignore the fact that it's not.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's something been bothering me the last few days too. Is I see a lot of that online. Is people, oh, you're okay, you're gonna be okay. I heard that a lot growing up, from my
Mm-hmm.
parents, from teachers, from people I knew. Oh, you're okay. And that's a good way to build like a tough kid, because I had to get tough really quick as a kid. But
Sure. Yeah.
but at the same time, it's like you're not letting the person determine that for themselves, and also navigate through whatever emotions they're trying to deal with. So, um, yeah, people need to chill a little bit. Like, don't tell
Yeah.
people how to feel, or how they, that they're going to be okay, because that's not up to you.
Agreed. 100%. That's one of those things I learned. I've been through a growth and change of outlook. 10 years ago, I probably would have been on the other side of all of this, and in the last decade, I have maybe even 15 years. But it was really what it was I got a job working for Apple, and unlike any other job I had, I was with a lot of people from all spectrums of life, but it was the first time I'd ever really interacted with a trans person, gay people, because I came from a very sheltered kind of religious upbringing. And when I got to know these people, I'm like, wait, like these people are just like normal people. It's like it wasn't the big monsters that they talk about when, growing up and how they want to eat babies and drink blood and just all that stuff. So over the last decade, like I don't want to say I woke, but I woke. I got woke, relatively speaking, to use the actual definition of that word.
Uh-huh.
So it's interesting to kind of see all of this from the other side, and it's normal for people to be like, oh well, I could see both sides. Like, no, I've been on both sides, and I can absolutely tell you that one side is objectively worse than the other because only one side wants people to not be who they are. Only one side wants that. The other side wants people to be who they are and have freedoms and stuff. And that's the difference for me. And that's I don't know how people can't see it, but they're so ingrained into their upbringing and ideology that they just don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? Because I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many issues, right? So many things that
Yeah.
get spoken about and that are important, right? I mean,
Yeah.
economics are important.
Sure. Yeah.
Your income is important.
Sure. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I've always, and ever since I was a kid, I'd always wondered, like, why are like, why are certain people not able to get married, or why are certain people not
Yeah.
able to do this? And it just kind of like, I don't know that we should. I think people's rights to their bodily autonomy, to their uh, access to healthcare, to be able to be who they are on any level, like needs
Yeah.
to that should not come after some of those other
Agreed.
topics. It should
Agreed.
come
Agreed.
first.
Agreed.
And that's what when you talk about like government, right? And I kind of feel like maybe we're going in a little bit like
We can read it back if you want. Like, I don't want to
um
get too heavy. We can talk about toys.
oh, we definitely will talk
Okay.
some toys in just a
All
bit,
right.
but I guess
Sure.
just to be a
Yeah.
little try to be a little more
Yeah.
succinct
No, it's
about
got
it.
levity. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I forgot where I was going with that, but
I'm sorry.
no worries. That was all me. I was like, how deep am I going to go? But yeah, no, I think, I think we can negotiate. Doesn't matter like what politically where you are. Like, you can
Sure.
negotiate on economics. You can
Yeah.
negotiate on, you know, border security and all that stuff. But
Sure.
when it comes to like people having the right to exist and to be who they are and to love who
Yeah.
they are and to have the same access to economic prosperity, regardless of their racial background or their cultural background or religious background. Like that should not be negotiable. That should just be
Yeah.
a thing that needs to be like enshrined in Constitution, or laws need to be passed with regards to it. But if you can't, if you put those other issues above human rights, like I'm gonna have a very hard time understanding you and connecting with you.
Yeah. I agree. And those are the things I will 100% unfriend people over. If you want to have a conversation over, is raising tariffs the right thing to do if you think prices are too high, which I feel like they objectively are not, and I think anyone that knows anything about how tariffs works would agree with that. That's one thing. We can have, you want to privatize parks. That's another, like, those are all economic things. Like, we could go back and forth all day and we can argue over whether drinking a beer and having fun or even get a little heated. But at the end of the day, like, that won't tear anyone apart. But when you come down to like telling someone that they shouldn't exist because of who they are or they can't do what they want to with their own body, even especially if it's like a medical thing, like there's so many people who are hurt or going to die because of certain views. Like that's where I draw the line. I will 100% I won't even argue with them. Just it's not worth it. I'm not going to change their mind.
Yeah.
I'm just going to remove it.
Yeah. And it is tough because I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I think I've always been fairly like where I am in terms of my beliefs and views, but I did grow up in Texas. I did grow up in a small town. I did grow up, with
Yeah.
family that, did have very, you know, conservative views and very traditional views and gender roles and all that. But I got out. I went to the big
Sure.
city, and then
You
I
got
left the
better.
state,
Yeah.
and I got to meet and work with all kinds of people. Many different jobs that I've held. People from different countries, all kinds of people. And when you get to know people
Yeah.
as people, and you put all the other labels and stuff, you leave them at the door, and you just get to know them.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
like your perspective changes. But if
It
you're not
does. Yeah.
getting out of that bubble, and you're
Yeah.
not getting out of your little 3,000, and this is nothing against
Yeah.
small towns, right? But if you're not getting out of your bubble, like you're not experiencing the real world. There is
That's
a
why,
whole.
there's that whole stereotype of like the kid going away from college and getting liberal and all that stuff because it's not because of what they're being taught in college. It's because of the life experiences they're having in college and just interacting with people that aren't in their bubble anymore.
Yeah.
It changes a person 100%. Like you don't have to go to school to learn how to treat a person like a human being.
You shouldn't have to. You
You
shouldn't have
shouldn't
to.
have to. Yeah.
That should be, if not innate, maybe
Yeah.
that should just be something your people are raised with.
It's wild. Yeah.
So
Well,
anyway.
anyways, toys are going to get more expensive. I hope they aren't, but like I don't see how a fact that they aren't going to get more expensive.
Yeah. Well, let's talk some toys. Let's talk
Yeah.
about some news this week. And I mentioned on Instagram, I almost was not going to do this tonight because
You told me.
I've
Yeah.
just been feeling all kinds of emotions this week. I felt physically ill,
Sure.
even though a couple of days ago, and I almost wasn't going to do this. I was just going to
Yeah.
hang out, and just, I don't know. But then I was like, well, I love social hour. I love the Cantinians that hang out with us, and I think the world needs a little bit of optimism and a little bit of joy. So hopefully we can bring that to the masses tonight.
Yeah. Some of it is doing things for other people. That was my goal on Tuesday night. Like I was feeling really antsy, apprehensive. My wife was playing video games and I just needed something to do. So I was like, I'm going to stream. Like I'm going to stream and I'm just going to open toys for an hour or so just to be a distraction for myself, but also I wanted to be a distraction for other people. Give them something to do besides doom scrolling and constantly refreshing websites and things like that. So I do it as much for other people as I do it for myself, but I won't deny that I also do it for myself. There's always a selfish component to anything I do.
Hey, it's fun, right? I mean, we wouldn't do
Yeah,
that. Fun.
that's true.
All right. So we're going to go and get things started in terms of our toy talk. So
Yes,
thank
do
you
it.
guys for being here with us still. Let's check in on the HasLab. So the Ecto
Okay.
1 and Ecto 1A, if you're going deluxe, is the big HasLab right now.
I'm curious. I'm curious. Anyone who is choosing to go regular Ecto one, like if you're just getting one, like why wouldn't you? You're already spending a lot of money. Like why wouldn't you just get the deluxe version? If you're just getting one, like that's what I want to know is how many people are just getting the one and they're getting the non deluxe. Because like I just feel like that's a weird choice to make if you're already doing all this.
Yeah, I agree. The price difference for going up to the
It's
deluxe
like
is
70 bucks or something,
yeah,
75
and you
bucks.
get a
Yeah,
lot more. So
yeah.
I hope that, I mean, they probably won't, but I hope that Hasbro breaks it down so that we know what the difference was in terms of deluxe versus base offering.
Yeah. I had the same problem with the Cantina. Like I really wanted to see the breakdown between who got what. So I just am curious about that. I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to data like that.
Totally. Looks like currently it's at 8,995 backers. And that is out of a target of 12,000 backers. So it's getting there. It's
Yeah.
it's 3/4 of the way. And we
I
still
find it
have until,
interesting
yeah.
when the early bird thing expired, because obviously it didn't make it, because it was, did we lose any or did they lose any backers? I say we, I'm not backing this, but like you know when the Engine of Vengeance or whatever happened and it lost the early bird, that's when a lot of people bailed on it because they felt like they were getting something taken away from them. But I was curious how different like Ghostbusters fans are to like Marvel fans, or if there's any kind of crossover in that sentiment.
Mm. It's a good question because, Ghostbusters is, it's not Star Wars, it's not Marvel
Yeah,
Legends, it's probably not even
yeah,
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? But it's
right,
like its own thing that's kind of more off to the side. And
yeah,
I've always been a fan of it since I was a kid, but it's not like, for me there's other franchises that are more important to me.
sure.
Um I did back this. I backed the deluxe version. Um and to answer your question, I had a Jay from Geek Dad Life on a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about the ones that he backed. He backed two of them. I think he had said two. It was the deluxe, and he backed a base model. And it was just interesting hearing his reasoning for like why he backed the base model, was because
Mm-hmm.
he was already getting the deluxe. He didn't feel he needed to do the whole one, but then he was like, well, I could have had the figures and sold those off and maybe paid for
Yeah,
the thing. So I don't know if he went
exactly.
back and
Yeah.
changed his order, but yeah, if anybody's backing this, I mean, the deluxe is just the way to go. I mean, it makes the most sense. It's a little bit more pricey, but it's only like $70, and it gets you the 4 extra figures. It gets you
You
the
could sell all four of those figures for more than that $70 easily.
yeah, even the ones that peg warmed and went on clearance at a lot
Yeah.
of places. The first wave from a few years back, those are going really like high on eBay now because people want
Mm-hmm.
them for this car.
Yep. It's always interesting when something peg warms, but then you jump forward 5 years or so, and it's hard to get. Like the princess, the slave Leia from the second wave of Black Series figures, peg warmed. Greedo peg warmed. You could buy them $5, super easy, no problem. They were on shelves forever. But here we are, 10 years later, and those go for 70, $80 because they're not going to make it, or they're hard to find, or it's interesting how time can cause peg warmers to be worth money.
Yeah, yeah, it is interesting. Um, Yeah, and like you said, the Lewis Tully was an interesting thing because they
Mm-hmm.
said, "Oh, we're just gonna give it to everybody if this thing backs," and
Yeah.
I'm happy about that because I'm getting an extra figure. But
Oh, so it's not early bird anymore.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
just
everybody's getting
including
it
it.
as long as
Oh,
it
okay,
backs.
that's good.
Everybody gets it.
Okay,
That was
that's
like a
good. All
little.
right,
They were advertising that as like a Halloween like treat, like that
I
that
gotcha.
everybody's gonna
I
get
did.
it. But
I missed that completely. So that's good for them. I'm glad.
yeah, no, it's good. It is good, but then it kind of brings into, I know people are bringing into question like, oh, well, they're changing the rules here. Will they change the rules in the future? Like,
Yeah,
and we're going to talk about this a little more thoroughly in just a little bit because
love
we're going
to.
to talk
Yeah.
in a little while. We'll talk about last figure standing and how that turned out this year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, HasLab's looking good. We still got 24 days to go. I have a
Yeah.
feeling it's going to pass. It's going to back,
Easily. Yeah.
and I'm stoked because I've always wanted this, and you know, now that we have the figures, this is kind of the last thing other than the Stay Puffed Marshmallow Man. They need to give us that somehow, some way, a proper 112 scale Stay Puffed Marshmallow Man. Even if he has to be shrunk down a little bit, I'm okay with it. But that is one thing that is going to still be missing, even if this backs.
I think they could do it. It would definitely be like a HasLab, or it could be one of their things they've been doing lately, where they just kind of put it up for pre-order, like for like a set amount of time,
Yeah,
like the Sentinel is. It could be something like that as well. But I think that's a good option as well.
totally. Good stuff. All right. What do I have next on my list? Okay, so this is another 112 scale vehicle that I'm also getting and excited about. So yeah, McFarlane's been doing their Batmobiles. They've been really like into like
Yeah,
cranking them out like nobody's business. I don't know why. I don't know if it's like they're worried about losing the license or what, but they're just like pumping them out. They're not putting the brakes on these. Um, But
It's because he's out of
yeah,
Batman's to make, so he's making Batman's cars now.
it's crazy though because they're coming out so frequently. It's like,
Yeah,
what are they gonna do like when there's no more to make? Like, like they're not even letting them marinate for a few months. It's just like they're constant now, right? There's been
he'll
like the third or fourth one. No, this is the fifth one this year because
is the fit.
there
Yeah,
was
it's a
also the
lot.
tumbler and then there was the
Uh huh.
camo tumbler.
Yep.
So Jesus, yeah, that's a bunch of Batmobiles.
He's got no Tom or Todd McFarlane has no chill when it comes to releasing toys. He just goes all out and he does them all at once. It is weird. It's a lot all at once.
Yeah. Anyway, this is cool. I know this, this movie, Batman and Robin. I know. It is what it is. We've accepted it after all these years, I think. But I've always liked this design for this car. I've always liked it. I know it's the most ridiculous crime fighting car ever. It makes no sense. There's no there's no way like in real life Batman would ever use something like this because there's just no way. But I've always liked the design. It I think it was inspired by like the 1940s roadsters and then they updated it for Batman. They took the top off. They gave it all these like weird red and orange lights and it's cool. It's cool. I like it. Maybe even more than the Batman Forever Batmobile. But
Yeah.
um yeah, I'm good with it. I have it pre-ordered. It's fun. And he made those figures already, so these they'll just go along with the Batmobile. So
Yep. You think he's
sure.
gonna do the ice one with the skis on it and stuff like
Uh
from the end
I
of the
would
movie?
rather I would rather him do the Bat ski boat first from
Yeah,
Batman.
yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Batman and Robin one. I can actually see that being a thing at some point. I really can.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Did you pre-order this one?
Oh heck no, absolutely not. No, I'm pretty out on Todd McFarlane. He just doesn't have the toy aesthetic I really like. Like I got into the line when it first came out because I was like, oh, DC figures, and everyone I bought, I just didn't like. Like the feel of it was weird, the proportions were weird, the articulation was weird. So I don't want to poo poo it. Like whenever there's new stuff and people are excited about it, like I don't jump in the comments and be like, no, this is terrible. Let me tell you why. Like you guys enjoy it. It's just not for me. And I just find that true for most things that McFarlane does. It's just his style.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good points here in the chat too. Um, Britt's saying that he pulls toy lands like nobody's business and leaves
Yeah,
them complete
I
sets.
think what are you salty about those Avatar: The Last Airbender figures? I don't think they did Toph or anything in like 6 inch. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Yeah,
It's not really wasn't a line I followed, so
yeah,
I'm not well versed enough in that to comment on it. I think this is the one you just mentioned, isn't it? Or no, you mentioned the Batman.
the Batman one. Yeah, I mean, I think he could do all of them. Like, why not? He's got to make toys to make money. Like, he's not going to make the money not making toys.
Yeah. Um, Britt makes a good point too about the HasLab. Like, I know I mentioned the Marshmallow Man, but there's also
Yeah,
Janine. Janine has to get made too. It's not going to
for
be
sure.
complete until we get her. So, yeah. Anyway, so if you're interested in the Batmobile, Batmobile is $99.99. Releases on December 29th. That's the other thing. I mean, this is cool, but it's like they just come out so quickly, and they're big, right? And it's like, well, where did I
Yeah,
put this one?
yeah.
I'm working on like redoing a lot of my Star Wars like area, like my 3 3/4 stuff, and I ended up putting some of these on the shelf. So I'll probably do a video on that later. But they're really cool. The Batman Forever one was really impressive. Like the Batman 89 one was nice. It was decent, but it wasn't like it was okay. It was kind of plastic. It was kind of like a big toy, really.
Yeah.
Uh, it was like the Spin Master one, just bigger. And then the Batman animated series, it's nice, but the one it obviously came from the DC Direct version, which was a better product, better
Sure.
QC. It was black. It looked better. But the Batman Forever one is really good. It's really like a cut above those other ones.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, it's the shelf space for me. Like the cost is one thing, sure. Like I can always fiddle with the budget, but it really comes down to if I don't have a place to put it on the shelf and I know it's going to go in a bin or something, it just makes me feel icky about buying it because I don't want to buy something just to immediately put it away a couple months later when I get tired of it.
Yeah, for sure.
I had a big issue with that today because Mythic Legions revealed that dragon, and I immediately go, like, where am I going to put that? I have to clear out space. I have to sell things. Like, I can't not buy this. So it was a whole thing I dealt with today.
Yeah. First world problems, I guess.
It is, yeah. It's a privileged place to come from, but it's my truth. It's where I'm at.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think somebody asked here in the comments. Let me see if I could. Oh, here it is. William was asking, curious if you're getting the real Ghostbusters Mondo figures.
I would have if they were like a fourth of the price. I can't do $200 for. I know it's a 2-pack, so it's like $100 per figure, but that actually makes it worse because I probably wouldn't care about any of the ghosts. I just want the Ghostbusters themselves because I did like the cartoon and I do like that style and I like the Mondo style and I'm interested in them for doing a foray into 6-inch figures. But being forced to buy a 2-pack and then having it be $200, I just can't. That is a money thing.
Yeah. Well, there is the single if you didn't want the ghost, but
Oh,
still.
is there? Okay, I didn't see
Yeah.
that. I didn't see the single.
It's $101 just to get
Okay,
Peter Venkman and Slimer.
that's still a bit much.
It is. It's
That's
a
still
lot.
a bit much.
It really is. I know, like, I mean, it's less than a Mesco, though, right? A Mesco is
Sure,
like
yeah.
125.
I also don't collect Medsco, so yeah, it's just that's a lot.
It is a lot. I did pre-order the 2-pack just
Sure,
because I'm me, I guess. Um,
you got your thing. It's okay.
yeah, I mean, like,
Yeah,
like I said, Ghostbusters it's one of my top 5 franchises, but it's
sure,
not, doesn't supersede Star Wars, doesn't
sure.
supersede Batman, doesn't
Yeah,
supersede Jurassic Park. But it's still something that's very nostalgic for me, and it's still we've never had proper 6-inch figures of the real Ghostbusters like ever.
right.
And I know
Exactly.
there's
Yeah,
weird stuff behind the scenes with
yeah,
that license. Like they hold it
yeah.
really tight, and they're very hesitant to, for whatever reason, for that show. Um, so this is them. I don't think they're ideal in terms of the price. I personally wouldn't mind if they were a little bit less fancy, so to speak, than they,
Yeah,
and they cost
yeah.
less. But this is what it is, and it's like, well, I can either get them or not. I'm gonna go and get them. So that's what
Well,
I
and like, what are the odds that they're gonna do it again? It's been this long to get anything like that. So I say either you get them now, and you have to get them now because if you wait, they're only going to get more expensive. As they stop being made and they're hard to everything all sold out, and you have to go aftermarket. So,
Yeah,
like if you want it, you have to get it now. You just have to.
yeah. Some comments here about the female
Oh,
figure
hi
thing.
Ken.
I know. I harped on those comments
Yep.
when at the time, and there may be a follow up to that. I don't want to say too much right now, but there may be a development in the future. So
Cool.
that's all I'm going to say for now. Anyway, let's see what do we got next. I just want to touch on these real quick. I'm not collecting this line, but I know some people do. So these are the 1/6. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my pal Toy Shiz over on Instagram, who is going to be joining us on the show, I believe, pretty soon here. I'll announce the date soon. Yeah, so Mondo has also been doing these 1/6 scale 12-inch Batman figures for some time now, focusing on the animated series. Well, now they're going Batman Beyond, so they're doing the Batman Beyond Classic version there. And they're also doing uh, they're doing Red Hood as
Red
well.
Hood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks good.
So yeah, not really like not a line that I'm collecting, but I still appreciate them. They look cool.
Mm-hmm.
It would be neat to have it, but you can't buy everything at the end of the day, right? So
Yep. You gotta pick and choose sometimes.
gotta pick
But
and
Batman Beyond's always been a cool design. Like I really do like it.
yeah, yeah, it is fun. All right, we're gonna move over to Hot Toys. There's a couple of things I want to talk about over on Sideshow's site that are now up. All right, so this one just came out, I think, yesterday. They announced this one. So this is Batman from The Dark Knight Returns, and yeah, 12 scale or sorry 6 scale figure that they've never tackled before in this particular outfit from the source material. No, I don't want $20 off. Um, yeah, I mean, it's neat. It costs 255, which isn't bad. I mean, considering like I think it says this figure. I was reading through the see if I can find the dimensions again. 12.6, almost 13 inches tall.
He's a big boy.
He's a big like chunky Batman. He's
Yep.
huge. He's very swole. He's very built. But I've never liked the designs from that comic book. I know
The
that
Frank
maybe that's
Miller.
sacrilege to some people, but I just don't like the way this Batman looks. He just doesn't look. He looks scary to me. He looks like Batman should be scary, right? But this isn't. This is
Yeah.
not the right kind of scary I'm talking about. He looks like he's like 80 years old or something, and he has like the body of like a Arnold Schwarzenegger. Just I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I've always felt that way. It was always okay. Like it didn't bother me too much because it was always like that one-off comic that
Right.
like it wasn't like they had a whole run where he looked like that. It was just that one set. But I agree. It's never really been my favorite design.
Yeah. It's just I appreciate it in terms of like the artistic quality that they gave it, but it's just not my cup of tea. I know some people love it, and
More
that's
power to him.
fine. Just I don't know. I don't like the wrinkled up face. Like it doesn't do it for me. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and close off of it because it's kind of scary. It's not that it scares me. It's just that it kind of it's a little off putting to me for some reason. I can't really
Sure.
articulate why. It's a little
Yeah.
disturbing. So
Batman shouldn't be that thick. And I don't and it's always weird seeing them depict people as old because I feel like it reminds you of your own mortality. Like if Batman can get old, I can get
yeah,
old. you know? But then they've combined Batman getting old with Batman being just inhumanly big and it's disconcerting.
yeah,
Oh,
it is.
Britt, Alfred's dead by that point. He's like 80, so Alfred would be like 120 or 140.
Yeah,
He's like a brain in a jar, probably, or something.
yeah. Poor Alfred. Kind of
yeah.
when you say that. Have you ever seen that movie? Is it Tammy and the T Rex? It's. If you haven't seen it, it's one
I
of the
haven't
most.
seen it. No.
It's one of the wildest. I might even regret telling you about just
Uh
find that
oh.
movie because it's just weird. But yeah, I don't even yeah. If anybody's seen Tammy and the T Rex, let me know. It's just like it's a very niche movie, but it's yeah, it involves a robotic dinosaur and a dead boyfriend
Wow.
and yeah, a brain. I'll leave it at that. And the brain of the dead boyfriend. And I already mentioned the robotic dinosaur, so you can connect the
I can
dots
put it all
there.
together. Yeah, I'm pretty smart. Yeah.
It's just not a yeah. It's just it's one of the most bizarre movies I've ever seen. But anyway, your comment reminded me of it. Um, yeah. Anyway, there's another hot toy. This one's Star Wars, and so now we're moving into Star Wars. And for whatever reason, I'm not finding the page, so maybe it's not up for pre-order yet. But no worries, because I can still pull up Hot Toys on Instagram and I can show it directly to you guys that way. So this one here, once it loads, and I can stop rambling.
Any day.
Interesting. Interesting. Oh, here it is. Okay. Let's go ahead and share this right here. British Trooper Commander. This is another trooper, which, you know, Hot Toys likes to do their troopers, of course.
They do. Yeah.
This one is based on Jedi Survivor. And yeah, basically it's just it's a purge trooper with I mean, I don't really know how to describe it. It has a gun. Like, yeah, it's got some guns. He's got the black armor with the red visor and the red like accents. So I mean, it's cool. I'm not gonna buy it, but it is it's noteworthy.
I want to know who's out there like army building these. Like what kind of bank account do I need to be able to just get like 5 of these and not feel it?
Yeah, I kind of went that route with the 50.
Did you?
With the 501st Trooper, I went that route.
Oh no!
I didn't keep them all. I did buy a few.
Yeah,
I bought a few.
I mean, I get it. They're made to be army built. They have accessories, and you can build them out different ways. Like I get it.
Yeah, I mean, Hot Toys isn't really like a. I mean, I know some people army build Hot Toys. Some absolutely do.
They do. Yeah.
But that was the only time I ever really tried to like, and I wouldn't even call it army building because like buying like 3 of them isn't really like. It's leaning into army building. Okay, sure, it's army building. What the heck? It's army. Not 3 of them. Wanted to build an army. But yeah, so Hot Toys came out with a 2.0 version based on the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and then I bought 2 of those. Mm-hmm. So I ended up selling one of the other ones. So now I have, I guess, 4. Then if you count Captain Rex, well, I have Captain Rex. And then they also did Commander or Captain Vaughn from Clone Wars season 7.
Do love Vaughn, yeah.
And they did Fives, and they did Echo.
They did Jesse, didn't they?
They did do Jesse, yeah, but I didn't buy any of those ones.
Sure.
I could have, and then they also did Appo, which was from like the Legends, Commander Appo.
Yeah.
With the Bark Speeder, which is a really neat thing, but I didn't buy it. So, anyway,
I regret not getting the Bad Batch, but I'm happy with the ones I've gotten so far. But I think I'm pretty done with Hot Toys. I just again, it's kind of a space issue where it's like I've got like 7 or 8 of them, and I already don't know where to put them, but I do like them.
Yeah. Charlie the Unicorn saying it went to waitlist, so maybe that's why I'm not finding it. I don't know what Sideshow did to their site, but they like made some changes. So
it's
now
different.
When you search or something, it's horrible.
Yeah. Horrible. I noticed that too.
He also adds, I've seen a Vader leading 20 stormtroopers display before on a figure flex.
See? That's what I'm saying. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's wild. Rick says that he got 6 of the 501st figures because they could also be the Ahsoka troopers. That's true. Yep. They did come with the interchangeable helmet if you got the deluxe version.
Yep.
But he sold 2 of them. Did you get the Bad Batch? I did not get the Bad Batch. I enjoyed the series, but I didn't feel like I needed them in Hot Toys form. They're cool, but not for me.
I would have. I almost got them, and I don't know. I just didn't, and I don't regret. I regret it a little bit, but I also am kind of happy I didn't. But I also kind of regret it because every time I see them, they look good, and I like them. And those are my only 2 qualifications for wanting a Hot Toy or any toy: is it looks good and I want it. So it's always tough.
Some of them are on sale right now because I think Sideshow is running a big sale right now and stuff.
The problem is if I can't get them all, I don't want any of them because
I think a couple of them did sell out, right? Like maybe Wrecker.
I'm pretty sure some of them are like aftermarket only now, and I'm not going to pay those prices.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either. I wouldn't either. Anyway, that is the Purge Trooper Commander. All right. Let's see. Where are we at this point? All right, so we're gonna start moving into Hasbro Star Wars. Um, if you're just joining in, this is Cantina Social Hour Friday night. I got Mike Kaess with me, talking about toys and other topics that we've been talking about. But we're happy to be here. It's Friday night, and we appreciate you guys hanging out with us here in the Cantina tonight. If you're catching us on the live stream, thank you for being here as well. All right, Mike. So I saw this today through Yakface's Instagram that there's a new promo called "Gift the Galaxy," and I guess this is the Star Wars push they're making for the holiday season in terms of merchandise is Gift the Galaxy. So I'm just going to jump back over to Jason's page and go ahead and pull this up. Yeah, so Gift the Galaxy, they're focusing, of course, in the visual imagery on what sells, right? Mandalorian and Grogu, and then Vader and a Stormtrooper.
That's what sells.
That's what sells. That's what like Star Wars is now, and for all intents and purposes, which is fine. I don't necessarily mind it. I wouldn't mind if like Leia was on there or something, but that's fine.
It'd be nice, yeah.
Anyway, Gift the Galaxy. That's the push that they're going to be making at retail for Star Wars. So I don't really have anything to add to it. I don't even know why I'm bringing it up. But,
well, so they did this last year, and usually that means like a weekly reveal. It's not always toys. Sometimes it's like a very nice Hoth-inspired like jacket, which I think they did last year. It was like $750. But I'm hoping we get a couple of fun reveals from both scales in this, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah. It is yeah, I guess it's I don't want to say it's cool, but I guess it's fine. I mean, it's just
fine.
It just is, right?
It just is, yeah.
So we'll see what comes from that. I don't need to dwell on that very long though, so I'll go ahead and stop sharing that. But all right, I do want to talk about Last Figure Standing, which it finally ended. Last Figure Standing has been going on for the last like 6 weeks, and there could only be one winner. We started with our top 12. It was 12 this year, and then it got whittled down to like top 6, then top 4, and then the last 2, and then now there's the Last Figure Standing. There is a winner, and that winner is our friend Arleel Shoes, winner of this year's Last Figure Standing.
I wasn't surprised by seeing this, honestly.
It was a close vote.
Sure.
They said that it got there were more votes for on this final round than any other round of Last Figure Standing in its 2-year history. And I think what only separated the winner and the loser was a very small amount of
very
votes.
small amounts. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I find it super interesting that the runner-up was a figure from the Acolyte, with all the verbal and internet hate that show gets. That a figure from it came in a very close second.
I know it's really interesting because I mean that's all you see, right? Is like people like consistently talking about how terrible it is and this and that, and yeah, but no, this was really close. It says 1,714 votes were cast, and only 26 votes separated the 2 finalists. So Arleel Shoes barely won. He won, but he barely won.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think to some extent that also speaks to what I often say is that you can separate the content from, I hate using that word. You can separate like the movie, the series, the whatever, from a good action figure that would make a cool shelf display.
Agreed.
Yep. People want the Stranger, and they want Arleel Shoes. So I think Hasbro, I hope they do them both. Of course, Arleel Shoes has his own baggage, so to speak, because he was part of the Cantina tiers
Mm-hmm.
that didn't get unlocked. We could go on about how it was a abbreviated campaign, and it was a huge number to hit for that stretch goal, but he didn't make it.
Yeah.
But Hasbro did say afterward, if you guys want this figure, let us know. Well, here it is. He won
Yep.
last year standing. So people want this figure. I hope that's a sign that they that they'll take to heart and hopefully produce it, because this has been my second most wanted after the Tonicas
Yeah.
for a long time now, and now it's my most wanted.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
once you got your Grail, you have to replace it with something else. So it
yeah. So I'm
always has to be a
replacing it with
Grail. Yeah.
not quite a Grail, but I'm replacing it
Yeah.
with something else that is now my most most wanted.
Right. Right. And I know I don't have to tell you this, but if anyone's watching, like I know that people from the Star Wars teams look at this stuff. Like they do use these things to gauge interest and popularity. Stuff like this is never a waste of time. It's always helpful.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, and again, I got to shout out the last figure standing team for putting this event on. It's not easy. It was very time consuming for them to do. Um, and they did a really good job. They put a lot of time, dedication, effort into this. And this is just a fan thing.
Sure.
This isn't an official
Yeah.
thing. This is a fan thing that they didn't need to do, but they did, because they love the hobby. Obviously we love talking about this stuff and collecting it. Yeah, so shout out to the team at banthaschool.com, Chris and Brett, and Tim from Box Bounty, and John from the Star Wars Vintage Collection Facebook group for all their hard work that went into this. And yeah, we'll see what happens next year. But I think they should just make the whole top 10, honestly, because they're all like,
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, it's like Anakin, Revenge of the Sith, Obi-Wan, Revenge of the Sith, Asajj Ventress, C-3PO. I mean, these are all like characters that are just like low-hanging fruit, obvious
Mm-hmm.
picks. So just make them all.
Yeah, I agree.
A few comments on here regarding this. Ventress was robbed. Harry says, "Yeah, I mean, the numbers are the numbers. So thankfully she was like top 5, right? I did vote for her over when it came down to top 4. I picked Arleal and Ventress. Although I really did want the Stranger, he was in my top 10. But I did go with Ventress because that one's been a long time coming. But yeah, maybe next time. Maybe next time." Adam says Arleal and Chimere share the fact that many of us fear if they are not made now, they never will be. That's a very good point.
Good point.
Um, and yeah, I'm surprised they haven't announced the Stranger for the Black Series, because Black Series has pretty much gotten like all the main figures, right? So
Yep. That's the only main one that we're missing from the show. Like character that's on the screen for longer than like 3 seconds.
yeah, definitely. Charlie says, "Do you think Hot Toys is influenced by seeing interest in other figures or pulls for other companies?" Um, I don't know. That's hard to say, because it's a different thing, right? I mean, it's hard for me to compare Hot Toys with Hasbro. I mean, I don't think Hasbro really takes what Hot Toys is doing and uses that to make what they make. So it's probably not the same for It's probably the same for Hot Toys. I don't think they would really take much inspiration from Hasbro because they're doing their own thing.
Yeah, usually when there's overlap, like if Hot Toys releases a character and then you see Hasbro kind of doing it, that's because they got a directive from Lucasfilm
Yep.
to make those toys. They're not looking at each other. They're getting those orders from the top down, and they just happen to kind of be the same thing.
Yeah, I agree. Um, He'll talking about Acmina. Yeah, I want an Acmina figure for sure. That'd be cool.
Yeah, anytime someone asks me, "Oh, do you want this figure?" Like the answer is always yes. I'm never going to be like, "No, I don't really want." Like if they're in Star Wars and there's not a figure of them, I want there to be a figure of them. It's that simple for me.
I know, right? It's like we want more figures. We always want more
I just
figures.
want more I just want more toys. Yeah.
One other 1/6 scale thing I'm going to pull up real quick from Sideshow, not from Hot Toys, from Sideshow,
Sure.
is in Labria from their can. It's such a weird
Nice.
name from their
Yeah.
can from their
Yeah.
Cantina
Yeah.
Scum and Villainy thing. Went up last week, and huge thanks to Adam, our moderator here, for sending me the message and saying, "Hey, Victoria, did you know that he went up?" I didn't that day. I had missed it. So I went on right away on my phone, ordered him, got him. He's now on wait list. This was a limited piece. I think it says they were limiting it here.
500.
Yeah, 500. So
Yeah.
that's pretty
It
small
is. It's a
run.
very small run. Yeah.
But I'm all in on this line in terms of Cantina. I know they teased doing Jabba the Hutt's palace too. Not going to go for those. The Cantina's my jam, so that's where I'm going to be focused. I think the only ones that haven't gone up yet from this are, let's see, I know I pre-ordered Greedo and Girindin. I don't like calling him Girindin. It's always been
Yeah.
Girindin
Sure. Yeah. I'm the same way.
for me, but I guess now it's Girindin. Labria. I'm trying to remember if the other two went up for order or not. That's pretty bad. I should know if I ordered those figures or not. But yeah, other than these, I'm not gonna, unless they bring out more Cantina aliens. I'm kind of done with these. I don't usually collect sideshow figures, but I know Hot Toys probably is never gonna make
They're
these.
never. Yeah. They're not going to do them. Yeah.
So I'll take sideshow. Maybe somebody in the chat here can remind me if they've all gone up for pre-order yet, but because I generally don't remember at this point.
Charlie the
Adam said
Unicorn
yes.
says the guy with the arm cut off is not up for pre-order yet. So that's Banda Baba.
Okay, Bond hasn't gone up yet. Yeah, Hammerhead would be great. They did Hammerhead a long time ago, and it was a really nice figure. I never got it. I wish I would have. Um, I would get Hammerhead for sure. And I'm also surprised. Speaking of the Acolyte, that Hot Toys hasn't announced a single figure. I mean, I kind of get it. You know, they might not want to go that. It's hard for them to, if they make, let's say, Master Soul, for example,
Mm-hmm.
people are going to ask for all these other characters, right? So I kind of get it, but I mean, I would buy the Stranger, like, for sure.
100%. Especially if you get a really good Manny Jacinto face sculpt out of it.
That would be so cool.
Listen, I'm very straight, but there are some dudes where I'm like, that's a good looking dude. I can't say that it's not.
He certainly is.
It's a good looking guy.
Oh yes. Um, yeah. So, well, Adam says Ponda Bob is available. So
Oh,
I need
there you
to
go.
check. I need to go back and look if I ordered them all, because if I didn't and I missed one and they sell out, I'm going to regret it. So I need to make sure I've ordered them all. The thing is, like, I know Sideshow puts them on their site, but they don't promote as much as Hot Toys does. So
Yeah, they don't. Yeah. Well, and a lot of people just confuse the two as well. They don't know the difference or see the difference between hot. It's like Disney and Pixar, where they go, "Oh, it's that Disney movie, Monsters Inc." Like that's a Pixar movie, and they go, "Oh, it's the Pixar movie Planes." Like that's a Disney movie. It's like they just don't see the difference.
yeah, I always think of the Richard Pryor, like, short from the '70s where he's in the cantina and
Oh yeah, yeah. I love that.
yeah, so good. Um,
I remember really liking this guy's story in the book, The Tales from Mos Eisley Cantina. I remember I don't remember what the story was about, but I remember reading it going like, this story is so cool.
yeah, it's a really nice looking figure. It
Yeah.
really is. They did a really good job with the outfit, the lightness and all that. I mean, I know it was just like a latex mask that Rick Baker had lying around or something, but um,
But they
it,
went to
it, it
Party
looked
City and got a devil mask. That's what
something like that.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, it's really good. It's really good.
Yeah.
I wonder if I could find this mask on eBay. Like, if he had one lying
Maybe.
around,
Yeah.
I wonder if there's any others that survive, because then
Could
you have
be.
like an exact replica of it, right?
Yeah.
So
I remember the Power of the Force 2 version of his figure had like a really weird proportion. Like he was kind of like hunched or like humped over, which was weird.
Yeah. Um. Oh, Muff Tech had pants on in the Richard Pryor skit. Really, I never noticed that.
I need to go back and rewatch that.
It's like a dog wearing pants, though. It doesn't sound right. It's like Chewbacca wearing clothes. And Chewbacca wearing a tuxedo. Just be weird. This doesn't work. Anyway, that's Labria or Labria or whatever the heck he's called.
However you say it, yeah, La Brea.
However you say it. Yeah, however you say it, it just doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how you say it.
Nope. Yep, nope. Call him Devil Man.
All right, so I want to talk about something here. I am being bombarded by Hasbro right now.
Sure, yeah.
Absolutely bombarded. This is one of the topics that we have for tonight is there too much Star Wars? And we'll get into the films and Disney Plus and all that in just a bit. But I want to end the toys on this here. There is way too much shipping from Hasbro right now. It is just unbearably challenging. We're getting into that time of year where you have to start thinking about, Christmas gifts. You have to start thinking about, this is always for, I think, a lot of people, the most expensive time of year.
Yep.
And Hasbro has been doing this thing for the last couple of years where all of a sudden all these things you've pre-ordered over the last 6 months are all coming out at one time. And I get it. All of these things are coming over on the same boat, right? And everything is being sent through the system and processed, and they don't want to hold on to it. They don't want to give us a break, because if they're sitting on product, just sitting in some warehouse, it doesn't benefit them in any way. It's expensive for them to do that. They just want to get it out as soon as it comes through the system. But on a consumer level, it is just very, 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 very difficult. In the last couple of weeks, we've gotten the latest wave of Star Wars: The Vintage Collection.
Yep.
The latest wave of Star Wars: The Black Series, the Ahsoka wave. The one that had the Ahsoka the White. We've gotten the Armorer's Forge playset.
Yep.
We've gotten the E-Wing, which is, $100 vehicle. We have gotten the retro collection, the prequel set.
Yep.
And I know I'm missing something here. What else did we get? This is what I mean. There's just so much.
There's a lot.
I know I have it written down here. Let me see. We have gotten the Star Cruiser playset from The Mandalorian. Yeah. So all of these things, if you tally up the price, I was calculated this earlier. You're talking about $650 worth of stuff, and that's not even counting the Black Series. I'm only counting the stuff that I would typically collect. So if I did buy the Black Series too, I did buy the Ahsoka, by the way. I didn't buy the other ones for that wave. You would be looking at about probably close to $750, all in one month. All in one month, and that's just not. That is very difficult for I think any consumer. Probably 99% of consumers. That's very, very difficult. So, I get why they do it. They don't want things to be sitting in storage because then they have to pay for that. They just want things to move through the pipeline. But
sure,
Hasbro, if there's anything you can do, Hasbro, please stop doing this to us, because this hurts. I know not everybody collects everything. I know not everybody pre-orders everything. But you put out these pre-orders because you want us to pre-order. And then you send us everything, even if you put it up in January compared to something that went up in August. It comes in at the same time. And it's just very, very, very financially restricting.
Yep.
And that's not even to mention, the other things that you're doing, like the HasLabs, your other lines that people make collect.
Other lines,
like Legends, like G.I.
Joe. I do G.I. Joe, I do Transformers, I do Star Wars. And I feel like all of those, when the next wave comes out for one, I'm going to get hit by the other two, whatever it is, like very shortly after that.
I like how you're just waving around that X-Acto knife.
I know. I don't know why I'm doing it. I realized I was doing it. I'm like, I should put that down. I'm going to switch over. I usually like having something in my hand because I like to fiddle with stuff. So I'm going to go back to my spudger. I usually have my spudger in my hand.
There you go. I thought it was a pen at
It's
first. I'm like, oh, he's
safer.
taking notes. That's
It's well,
interesting.
what I was doing was I was gouging my desk out with the knife, and then I started talking, so I waved my hand. I'm gonna put that down before I cut myself.
Yeah, we wouldn't want that. Although it would fit the
Just
theme of the
kidding.
cantina, but yeah.
It would, sure.
He did it to himself, I'm telling you.
You can see it. It's on stream.
One thing that does help with all this, right now, Disney Store, I'm not sponsored by Disney Store, but Disney Store is running a 25% off a lot of this stuff.
That's
The
nice.
Ewing, the
Yeah.
Armor's Forge, the Retro Collection prequels set, and then some other TVC stuff they have in stock right now. So they are doing a really good sale that does help quite a bit, which is interesting because Hasbro Pulse has them like at the same time, or actually I think Disney put some of these things up first.
They did. That's
But
usually.
I as soon as I saw that, I did cancel my Pulse orders, and then I went to Disney and
Yeah.
got my 25% off because of course I'm going to do that. Why would
Of
anybody not
course.
do that?
Why would you not do it? Yeah.
Yeah, and then you get the free shipping after a certain point, so it's just like, yeah, of course you're going to do that. But yeah, like I'm pleading, Hasbro, please stop doing this. Please, 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 please. I don't mind waiting a little bit longer to get something, but this is choking a lot of people I talk to. Um,
It really is.
so give us a break. I know we want more, and we tell you all the time we want more. We do. We just don't want it all at once.
No, you got to space it out. That or I don't know, drop the price again. Jeez. It's I always talked about when they raised the price from like $22 or $23 up to 25. I was like, it's just an extra $2. Like, who cares about $2? But it's not $2. It's $2 times six figures because like if you get the whole wave, so it's that's an extra
Yeah.
$12. It
Yeah,
just
and I got two cases
yeah,
of the latest TVC wave because there's only
right,
one of each figure in the case. So
right,
if you want like one to open, one to keep carded,
yep,
then you have to buy two.
yep.
So yeah, it's nuts. So I've, in light of this, I'm announcing here for the first time that I'm actually going to be buying less Hasbro Star Wars.
Okay,
In light of this, so I'm going to be specific here. Anybody that watches this probably knows. You probably don't need to ask me how I collect my TVC. When it comes to the figures, I've since 2018 when the vintage collection returned. I've always been one to open, one to keep carded of every single TVC figure. I was doing that for a time with the vehicles and the play sets, and then I stopped. A couple of years back, I stopped doing that. And then I started selling off some of those boxed play sets and vehicles because I just stopped doing that. They're paywalling the the astromech droid that comes with the E-wing behind $100
hmm,
vehicle. The Armor's Forge, a $60 set. They're paywalling that figure behind that
yeah,
set. The big the Star Cruiser play set that just came out with the Mandalorian figure that it has. They're paywalling that figure behind a $60 set. So these aren't things that I need two of. I don't need two E-wings. I don't need two Armor's Forges. I don't need. I mean, it might be cool to have the two Star Cruiser playsets, but I don't need them. So in light of that, in light of all the drops that have happened over these last 2 weeks, I made a decision that had been on my mind for the last couple of months, but this kind of pushed me over the edge. I am no longer going to be a carded completist when it comes to TVC. And for me to say that's huge because
yeah,
everybody knows like when it comes to the vintage collection, I'm pretty gung ho. Like I'll gung ho or whatever the phrase is. I'll buy everything figures, one to open, one to keep carded. No more. I'm gonna open. I'm gonna get everything to open. But when it comes to carded, if it's not a single release figure that you can buy in a case,
hmm,
I'm not gonna be buying like two E-wings just to get
yeah,
two of the same little figure. That does
yeah.
not make
It's
sense. I'm not
crazy.
gonna pay hundred
Yeah,
dollars for a little figure.
yeah.
Not doing it anymore, Mike. I'm not doing it anymore. So
I
Hasbro,
mean,
you lost me
you
on
got
that one.
you got to do what you got to do, and I 100% fully endorse this. I think this is the kind of thing. Hopefully, it might send a message. It might send the wrong message. Unfortunately, uh, it's always one of those, like, sometimes things backfire situations. Like when people are like, don't buy this. Then they'll know they should be making different stuff. But all the message they take away is people don't want this. Not that they should make other stuff. They just don't want this, and that's why in Black Series we don't get like vehicles anymore and
Yeah.
stuff because people were saying the prices were too high. They were going to buy them or whatever, and now we just don't have vehicles. Not we have cheaper vehicles, but that being said, you're still buying them. It's not like you're not buying them. You're just not buying as
Yeah.
many. And I 100% get that. And I had to do the same thing. I was a completionist in the Black Series, but it was the carbonized closed box packaging that pulled me out of it. Like I can't buy these. There's no reason for me to buy them because I like to keep those carded. And if you can't see the figures, what's the point in buying them? So that was the point where I was like, I'm not gonna be completionist anymore because I just can't justify the cost, especially because they were overly expensive. Like the Amazon 2 pack carbonized was like $70 for two carbonized Black Series figures, and I couldn't do that.
Yeah. I'm glad they stopped doing carbonized, by the way.
Me too. It was a cool experiment. That first wave was neat, but it got old real fast.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm not down with this paywalling of TVC figures behind
Sure.
expensive
Yeah.
products.
Yeah.
Give it, loose. Okay, a loose pack in, fine.
It's weird
But
they do a full carded pack in. Like that's a weird choice
yeah,
to
and
do.
I'm not. It doesn't bother me too much, honestly, on like the speeder bike or the
Yeah.
blurg, like something small like that. Like, okay, I can take two speeder bikes and two
Sure.
blurgs. I
Sure.
can use that, but
They army build anyway.
yeah, but not the E-wing. Like, I don't need
Yeah.
two E-wings. Like, where am I going
No.
to put two E-wings? I don't even know where to put one E-wing.
Right.
Yes, or the Armorer's Forge. Just like, there's no way I need
Yeah.
two of those. I mean, so I always say I support the vintage collection through and
Sure.
through,
Yeah.
but I'm not. They've lost me on that one because of all these paywalled figures, because of these huge drops where everything is processing at one time.
Sure.
Um, I'm still buying the figures, like you said, but I'm just
Yeah.
going to be buying less overall because I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm not feeding that compulsion anymore to own everything carded. I can't even put them all on the wall at the same time anyway. So I'm still gonna buy if it comes in a case from Entertainment Earth or it's a single from Amazon or a single you can find at Target or Walmart. I'm still gonna do that. I'm still gonna buy them to carded. Still gonna buy them to open. But anything beyond that, no. It would take it having to be like an original 96, like for example, like Han Solo and New Hope card.
Sure.
Then I'd be like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I hate you, Hasbro, but I'm gonna have to get that one. But
Yeah.
other than that, like it's just not gonna happen anymore. I'm not gonna do that. There's too many other things that are vying for my collecting dollars at this point. And I'd rather put like that extra $100 instead of through an E-wing. Well, that's like a good chunk of a hot toy, or that's like,
Yeah.
a good that's that Batmobile we were talking about earlier. It's just like,
Yeah. Well,
so
and part of me is like, should I even be spending that much money on toys right now? With like, who knows what the world's going to be like in a year and a half with tariffs and whatnot. Like, should I just be saving money for food?
I'll be honest. That was probably part. Like, I didn't come to this decision 100% until the last couple of days, and I think that may have been
Sure.
a
Yeah.
factor. And I think in general, and I'm sure I can do a whole episode on this. In general, I think I'm going to be buying a little bit less overall. Or I'm going to be
Sure.
focusing at least on things that are more meaningful to me,
Yeah.
instead of just blanket buying things just for the sake of liking them. It might start having to be something that I love rather than
Yeah.
just like. Um, but yeah, that's where we are. I wanted to tell everybody about that. Wanted to get off my chest and let everybody know about that. And I see a lot of comments regarding this, so I'm going to do a quick run and see what people are saying with regards to this. Josh says, unless it's a HasLab, no figure should be paywalled. I mean, yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, it's And even then, they need to start doing the loose set option too, because
Yeah,
that's another thing. It's like I didn't buy two ghosts so that I could get a carded set of figures. I figured, well, I'm just going to go to eBay
yep,
and I'm going to buy another set. And I might still do that for the ghost because those rebels. You got to finish that mural. You kind of have to do that.
100%. Yep.
Um, but yeah, yes. Let's see. Bob says, "I'm with you. I would love to have all those TVC figures card and loose, but when they're behind these paywalls, not doing it." Rick says that he made the same decision. Totally understand how you arrived at this. Pico B1 says same. Adam says, I opened all figures for decades until just a few years ago, and I am already out of storage space for carded figures. That's another part of it because I put my carded figures in figure shield clamshells, and
Mm-hmm.
I stack them in a closet, and then like I'm already out of room in that closet for for more carded. So it may be that I start going through my TVC collection and start focusing more on like keeping what the ones that are very important to me, or I even though I've already bought them, it's like, do I need like some random Mandalorian figure that wasn't even named or shown close up in the Mandalorian season 3? Like, probably not. That might be the kind of thing I can let go of.
Sure.
But yeah, space is certainly always an issue. Yeah, Charlie says space is the number one factor. Buying duplicates make it really hard to store the extras. Runner Bay says that he opens everything. Bob says the only difference is I'm keeping them carded and will live without a loose figure. So kind of the opposite. And that's an option too. I
It's an
thought about
option.
that too. Maybe I
Yep.
just keep them carded when with those expensive sets and I don't have a loose figure. But then it's like, well, then I don't have a droid for the E-Wing. So, you know, still a problem either way, I guess. Lorena says that I'm an opener, but my husband is carded, so it is complicated. Yeah. Anyway, there's car conversation going on. Chevy Nova, Challenger 1970. Interesting.
Sure.
Anyway, the other week, Victoria said how the elucidator may never come to be, like some future state fantasy. The discussion making me think that regarding like not needing everything. Yeah, yeah. It's like the fantasy, right? Like one day I'll have that big 3-story mansion where the whole third floor will be a whole big toy museum
Just
for
one
my
big
whole
toy room.
collection.
Yep.
Um, Probably not going to happen for most of us.
Yeah.
Um, but so yeah, we need to be a little more focused, I guess, if you want to
So
be.
my wife and I are moving to Illinois next
Oh
year.
wow,
Yeah. And one of the things that like on my list of like a house is I want a basement so that my basement can be just a big toy room and we can keep our house separate. Like we can make that an adult space or whatever. But then like a big basement will just be where I keep my toys.
that's cool.
Yeah.
I'd love to have a basement, but there's like not really basements in SoCal.
And no, there's no basements in Southern California. Well, we don't need them, but like in the Midwest or whatever, they've got tornadoes and stuff, which doubles as all my toys will be safe. If it gets hit by a tornado, I have to worry about my toys.
Yeah, that's funny. Um, yeah, no, that's awesome though. Like, I would love to have like a toy basement. Like that would be really cool. Like when I see video, there's all kinds of videos of people showing their really impressive collections with fancy lighting and
Sure.
they
Yeah.
make it look like the Death Star or whatever. And like you walk down the stairs and all of a sudden you're in like this room. And I always thought, oh, that's cool. You walk down the stairs and there's another room with no windows. Like to me, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's awesome. Exactly. It's perfect for the kind of people that we are. It's like absolutely perfect.
Yeah. Adam says that Mike, we will be neighbors.
Fun.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to living more in the middle of the US so I can still come back here for like Comic-Con or whatever, but I can also I don't have to fly across the whole country to get to like some of the other places I want to go because right now that's like more prohibitive.
Yeah. Well, good luck with your move, and
Thank
I
you.
can't imagine what it would be like packing up the entire collection and hoping that everything
I'm
is 100% intact. Like on the other end of it, like I fear, like I don't
yeah,
know when or if I'll ever move, but like even if I were to have a like create another space like on my
sure.
property like, to put
Yeah,
a set up the toys, like even that is like very intimidating to me to think about.
sure. Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm
moving.
probably gonna get rid of all my box. I've saved every like Black Series box. For some reason, I just have, and I'm probably gonna start getting rid of them all just because like I don't need them.
Right on. All right, so I guess let's get into our final topic here. And this is something that you and I were,
Uh oh.
I guess, just trying to figure out the right opportunity to discuss it.
Yeah.
Um, does Star Wars need a break? We've been inundated with brand new Star Wars content since Disney took over Star Wars, since they took over Lucasfilm.
Yep.
Initially, it was like a movie every year. Now it's a bunch of Disney Plus series. There's animation. They're coming at us every which way they can with new Star Wars content. And for a little while, I was totally like on board and okay with that because I was like, yay, more Star Wars. It's kind of like being a kid and like getting like soda and candy and being like, yes, more, more, more. But then after a
Mm-hmm.
while, you're kind of like, oh, my stomach, it doesn't feel so good. I need
Yep.
something else. I need something. I need a break. Like, is there too much Star Wars content? Does it need to take a little bit of a hiatus and make us miss it?
I mean, I think so. And I know no one, a lot of people in the chat are saying like no breaks. Like I get it, and all I can think about is we're about the same age. So growing up in like the '90s, or if you were a fan then, or in the early thousands, like Star Wars existed. Star Wars has always existed, but in the original trilogy and prequel trilogy movie, there were 3 years in between each movie, and there was like a 15 or 18-year gap in between those two trilogies. So I feel like you just, when you got something, you had a long time to sit with it. You had a long time to watch it, memorize it, enjoy it, dissect it, whatever you want to do, get mad at it, get over being mad at it, come around on it, like stew on it, whatever you want to do. You had that time.
Yeah.
And then you got something new to kind of keep it going, like just in time to kind of keep that wave going. And now it just feels like I feel like we don't have that break. Like you sit down to eat a big Thanksgiving dinner and you want to just sit on the couch and unbuckle your pants and just digest. But Disney's coming back in, Lucasfilm's coming back in. We're like, hey, here's another slice of pie. Don't you like pie? You like pie. I know you like pie. I know you like the Mandalorian. You're like, I do like the Mandalorian. I really do like this, but I'm going to die. I do feel like I don't want no Star Wars, but just from a toy perspective, give Hasbro time to fill in these gaps that of these figures that we're missing without having to jump on the next treadmill of the new thing to come out.
Yeah.
Uh, but action figures aside, when you have something that comes out and there's negativity towards it, so like let's say for instance, The Last Jedi came out. A bunch of people didn't like it. A bunch of people did like it. If we'd had 3 years in between those movies for the dialogue to kind of get old and calm down, and then something to happen, I feel like it would have been better. But instead, we got that, we got Solo, we got Mandalorian, and then we got 2 years later we got the the Rise of Skywalker, and then since then it's been Disney series, Disney series, Disney series, and we just haven't had that break to chill out.
Yeah, it's totally a valid
Yeah.
point. And you're right. Like back in the day, 90s, when the prequels were coming out, like you would get this huge build up to the movie. They would release the
Yep.
toys, a month in advance,
Yep.
and you could start. there were the message boards, right? The forums where you'd be reading like about like, oh, I think this is gonna happen. All these Palpatine
Oh,
theories.
I could tell you so many theories that people had. Boba Fett was really Aurra Singh, so that way that you could. I remember that theory because then they could say Boba Fett was in every Star Wars movie because she would have been in the Phantom Menace and then also in that. There was a theory that oh man, there were just so many crazy theories because we didn't know anything. We didn't know who Boba Fett was. We didn't know how Anakin became Darth Vader. We didn't know so many things. It was fun to theorize, and we had years to theorize. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was what a time. I don't know if you remember this, but back before Attack of the Clones, there was also a rumor that Christopher Walken was going to play Count Dooku.
I remember that too. Yep.
Yeah, I mean that was
Yep.
like, I mean there were so many like crazy like things back then. That probably would have been kind of cool to see, honestly. Like
I
for them play
I wouldn't
some
have
kind of
minded it, honestly. Oh no, Obi-Wan. Oh, this is terrible. Like I just I would have loved that. But I mean Christopher Lee was great. But to that point, like even before episode 1 came out, for years, even back to like when the Power of the Force 2 line revamped, and that's when I got like really into Star Wars. Was there was new toys. I mean they were all big and buff, but I didn't care at the time. They were just new Star Wars toys. Like even then they were doing it to get people excited for the prequels. That was 1996. That was 3 years before a Phantom Menace would come out. And even then, because we didn't have the internet, it was still this far off nebulous thing as, oh, we know at some point George Lucas says he's doing episode 1, but like we didn't really know that. We didn't have the internet to give us constant movie updates and leaks and rumors and stuff. It was all just like schoolyard, like, oh, I heard this, and oh, I heard this, and what happens if this? Like we weren't constantly connected with that. It was interesting, and it was kind of a time I miss where you could be surprised by stuff like that.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And then yeah, we had like that whole 3 years to stew on a movie and
Yeah,
talk about it and digest and dissect it and enjoy the toys and product that came along with it. And that was Hasbro's focus, was like making
yeah,
toys for that movie. And they made everything that way. The next time there was a new movie, they could move on
yeah.
to that, and you already had everything you needed from the previous film.
Well, like when
And
the Saga collection came out, I think that was the
mhm,
episode 2 line. It started off as the episode 2 wave. I worked at KB Toys when that came out. And I remember working with my manager because I was the big Star Wars fan. He's like, "Mike, you want to help me set up Star Wars?" I was like, "Yeah, heck yeah, I want to help you set up Star Wars." So I was opening the boxes and putting them on bags and stuff. But, that line just transitioned from episode 2 stuff into like OT stuff again and episode 1 stuff. But the packaging didn't change. It was still that blue packaging with the silver and whatever. So like
yeah,
it was unique where they wouldn't do that like now. It's interesting.
yeah, yeah. It was a neat time for sure. Um, and yeah, you're right. Hasbro cannot catch up. There's
They
just
can't
too
catch
much
up. Yeah,
too quickly. Like, you know, I know you focus on Black Series, and that's
I
great.
do. Yeah,
And they do a pretty good job with any new series, whether with the
yep.
Bad Batch, with the Acolyte, with the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Like they flesh them out pretty well. They don't do that in the Vintage Collection,
Nope.
and it makes it just frustrating because
Sure.
we've been sitting on the Andor team sans Bodhi Rook, sans Baze Melbis for all these years. The solo film, they never did Kira or Dryden Voss. The Rise of Skywalker, they did like five, like no, not even five, maybe like 3 or 4 figures, and they never did like some of the other main characters or the
Yeah.
villains. Like, and it's just they don't have time to catch up because now they have to focus on like
The next thing that comes out.
the next thing that comes out, right? And
It's a constant treadmill. It's like that Simpsons episode with J. Ross Horter where Homer goes to hell and he's just being fed donuts constantly. Like, and I'm gonna eat them all.
yeah, um, yeah. Let's turn the conversation to the comments here and see what people are saying, because I did see a lot of like, no, keep it coming, keep it coming, keep it coming, and now
Sure.
everybody's talking about pie as well. Every
It's
time
because
about
I
pie,
brought up pie.
you mentioned pie. Yeah.
I mentioned pie.
Um, apple or pumpkin? Both. Obviously,
And
both.
this, and that's the thing is like you don't have to not like pie to not want more pie. You know,
Yeah, you've been to Julian, right?
of
You know.
course, yeah, definitely been a Julian. Yeah,
Um, yes, there's a lot of thoughts on this. There's like a range of thoughts here. July through November. Yes, break, please. Adam says, no break. Next
right. Next
topic.
topic.
Trevor says, I do not need a break. July through November says they are threatening to make a new trilogy episodes 10 through 12. Threatening? I don't know if threatening is the right word. um,
I want them to finish a movie before they announce new movies. Is my problem right now.
there's been too many things announced and then haven't
Yeah,
happened. Stop announcing things.
yeah.
Just make the thing
Stop
you surprise
announcing
with.
things. Well, to be fair, I don't actually think Lucasfilm announced this. Like, I think news got out that
True.
someone was going to write something, and then they just ran with it. But I don't think Lucasfilm has actually been like, "Hey, we're writing new movies for this," you know.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm going to give them this one on a technicality.
Yeah, yeah. I still remember like there was that thing with Kathleen Kennedy in the wall, and she was like, "Oh
Yep,
yeah, and this is coming,
yep,
and this is coming,
yep.
and that's coming," and like maybe we got
Like
half of
none of
those.
none of it,
Yeah.
almost none of it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
Um, Charlie says Skeleton Crew is one of the biggest risks they've taken. If it hits, it could be huge. I think it'll be huge. I mean,
I hope
I'm on
so.
record saying that I think this is going to be the biggest Star Wars series since The Mandalorian. I don't know. I don't have any evidence to support that. I just have a hunch based on what I've
Yeah,
seen that it's going to be big. But and it's holiday season, right? Star Wars
sure.
and holiday season,
Yep.
like it's great. I love that.
It's
Um,
it's synonymous since 2015 that Star Wars and
yes,
the holidays go together. But I think it's got a leg up over say like the Acolyte because it doesn't have a lot of the negativity with the behind the scenes stuff already. Like it's not going in already having to claw its way out. I'm hoping it could just come in and just be something you can enjoy and you don't have to worry about people like nitpicking it to death.
yeah, I hope so too. 17 decimal 2 Nate, not a break, just less quantity and more quality. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think so. Um, it's been hit or miss kind of across the
Sure.
board. Some things
Yeah.
are great, some are
Yep.
not great. Maybe there's just more focus on less, but make it better, I guess. Um, Justin says, no, not too much. I want it all. Runner base, I can't get enough. More, please. Dodgson says Star Wars and Jurassic need a serious break, mainly due to crafting a better story, and that we all need a break from good things sometimes. Personally, if it means quality, I would love one. Bob says, in an ideal world, I would love it like one TV series a year, 10 episodes a year, and one movie every 2 years. That'd be the sweet spot.
Sure. I think that'd be good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be good with that too. Lorena says, I don't want a hard break, but a slowdown would be okay. I like exploring the world, but also I don't need an MCU peak to lose done. I think that's one of the places they went wrong is that they really did kind of treat it like Marvel, like just trying like
Mm-hmm.
to do all these things, and Star Wars doesn't really need that. I mean, it's more of like a
No.
fairy tale than a comic book. Um, like a serial set in space, and it has like the core films, the trilogies, like they have like their own stories, right? Like the prequels and then the original trilogy, and the side adventures are fun. Like Solo was fun. I felt like
Mm-hmm.
Rogue One was fun. Um, but I like that kind of thing doesn't really need to be like a three times a year kind of thing, right? Like all these series,
Agreed. Yeah. No,
like
agreed.
yeah. Um, yeah. And Adam says, yeah, my frustration is announcing a projects that never come to fruition. It is frustrating.
Yeah. Or when projects do come to fruition, they don't they don't back them up. Like I feel like they seriously could have fixed the Acolyte. They could have whatever issues like it had or whatever. They if they had really wanted to make it work, they could have sunk money into it and made it work. George Lucas did it the prequels weren't universally loved, but he, one, didn't care that people didn't love it. He was making the movies that he wanted to make at the time, and two, people came around on them. Eventually they came around to it. So, like, the fact that they were so quick to take the negativity and like swing a completely different way with in between like Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, or they took the wrong lessons from Solo, and they took, canceling the Acolyte, so it's not getting a season two, and now it's hurting the people that are fans. So you have the people that weren't fans of it are still not happy because it exists, and the people that were fans of it are feeling bad because they feel like they can't like something because they can't get invested into it.
Yeah.
So it's bad either way.
Yeah, I think for me, like, probably what bothers me the most is just the inconsistency in terms of like everything meshing together, right? Like you have
Yeah,
something like season 3 of Mandalorian, then you have Andor coming out
sure.
within, I don't know, a year of each other or 9 months or whatever it was. It's just kind of hard to like, it's hard to reconcile that in my mind. Like, how can you have something like Andor,
Yeah,
then have Mando season 3? And I know that the tone is deliberately different, and they have different aims with both series, but it's still Star Wars, right? Like, I feel like the
yep,
caliber of the quality should still be high.
I agree.
Um, so I think what they need to do at the end of the day is just kind of take a step back, reevaluate everything, look at what's worked and what hasn't, and maybe focus their energies on things that they have good data on
Yeah.
as stuff that will resonate. Like what's resonated so far, The Mandalorian has,
Hmm.
Andor has for most people. I know some people don't like Andor. That's fine. Um, Rogue One. Um, is that it? The Clone Wars season 7 was amazing,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah, it was.
Maybe they just kind of need to step back and just like look at everything they've done and make some decisions about how to move forward, because I think it does need a break. It needs a slowdown. There needs to be a little bit more time between projects
Yeah,
to give the consumer time to miss Star Wars,
yeah,
to become
exactly.
reinvested in Star Wars, and like you said, to give these toy companies like Hasbro,
Yeah,
which are, not everybody collects, not everybody buys Hasbro Star Wars toys, but they, as companies, they have their own obligations to their consumers, and if they're not properly supporting Lucasfilm's projects because they have to keep brushing to different films and stuff and different
yeah.
series, then they're not really like, nobody's really winning. So
Nope, nobody's winning right now, and that's why we need to take a step back and just kind of reset, just to like you said, give people time to miss Star Wars. And I think that would help a lot. Like absence makes the heart grow fonder, or so they say.
or so they say. Um, yeah. Ken, how's it going, Ken? Ken says the disingenuous and opportunistic online toxicity surrounding any of these projects is impossible to effectively deal with because channels are financially incentivized to be toxic. It's a no-win. And yeah, there's truth in
Good
that
point.
too.
Sure.
It doesn't matter what they do. There are gonna be those people that are negative and toxic and hate on everything just because that's the brand that they built, right? And they're gonna
Sure.
keep doing that no matter how good something is.
Yeah.
Um, but at the same time, certain things obviously just aren't really connecting and resonating the way they should be. So, um, I think there's a way to negate that to some extent, not completely, of course, but I think they can definitely make improvements in some areas.
I think
Um,
what they should do, I think you got a good point there. They should have like one series a year, but each the other problem is like shows like The Mandalorian and like Obi-Wan, where they're like 6 episodes, 7 episodes, or 8 episodes. Like that's not enough episodes, and they're only like 30 minutes long. So there's not enough of those. So like Andor was like 12 episodes, and they were all like 40 to 50 minutes each. So if we got like one of those a year, and then like every 3 years we get like a nice movie, I
mhm.
really think that we would be set up to where we're not getting too much.
Mm-hmm.
but we're still getting some, and they can slow down and they can make it quality. I've seen some comments saying things like there's no art in it. I disagree, but I think a lot of people look at these projects as if they're like one. There's like one entity making it. Whereas, like, yes, they're all being made under Lucasfilms, but they all have different teams working on them. It's not like one person's in a room, like chugging out scripts and shooting this and editing that. Like, they've got whole teams developed to doing this. So
Sure.
like there is room for art. Like, you can't look at scenes from Andor and say that that's not art. You can't look, no matter what you think of the movie, you can't look at The Last Jedi and say that that's not art. There are some absolutely gorgeous shots in that. Like, there is work put into this stuff. No one is hastily or sloppily making things. Like, no one sets out to make something bad. That's never anyone's
Right.
intention. When they're making something, they want to make it good. Sometimes it doesn't turn out that way. Sometimes there are setbacks. Sometimes there's budget shortages. Sometimes, there's a lot of different reasons something can become bad or not what people want, which I think is the bigger issue. Isn't that it's bad, it's just not what they wanted. Um, but I do think that if they slowed down the output but gave us solid quality, like give us a nice Ahsoka season 2, 12 episodes long, like 8 episodes with like 30 minutes each, like it's not enough. We need more.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point and a really good idea, I think, for how to approach it. I love how Andor is 12 episodes and not
Love it. And I love that it had little arcs. Like, there were like
yes,
little 3 episode arcs where you get like a
yes.
beginning, a middle, and an end of a story, and then the next one set up another beginning, middle, and end of a little story. And like, I love that layout. It worked so well.
It does. And they're not short episodes. They're not like 25, 30 minute
No,
episodes.
they're 40
They're
40
full
to 50 minute
episodes.
episodes. Yeah.
Yeah. Like yeah, like one of those a year
Yeah.
would be great. Um yeah, it's just gotten to the point there's just so much, and like Mandalorian is one thing. Then you have Book of Boba Fett, and those kind of fit together for the most
They
part.
do.
But then things like then you go off to like Acolyte, or you go to Andor, you go to Obi-Wan Kenobi, and they're all made differently, right? And they feel
Yep.
different. And even things as simple as like the opening like sequences or credits or whatever, where they're all
Hmm.
kind of all of these series they start with just a little intro, right? Like a little
Yep.
some text telling you something, but it's designed differently across each series. Even like
Yep.
going from Rogue One didn't have an opening crawl. I was watching it yesterday, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember now how jarring this is, just to go like the music is like dun, and then like you're right there. It's like, oh, no opening crawl, which is fine. But I think there needs to be more consistency across the board with these films, with these series, just to make it all feel like one thing that all came from the same company. Because it's not working where it's like kind of one series feels like it was made by Disney, and then one series feels like it was made by like Universal or something. Like,
Hmm.
it's just like there
Sure.
needs to be a little more consistency, I feel like,
You
to
want
make
the
it
you want
feel,
cohesion,
yeah, the
basically.
cohesion.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree with that. Like, it should all still feel like Star Wars. At the end of the day, like the original trilogy and prequel trilogy, like, they had elements that still made you feel like you were watching Star Wars, even though they took place in different times. They took place in different locations. They had different stories, different characters, but they still felt like Star Wars. So I 100% agree with that. And one of my big things is actually the music. And I don't know, like, I get wanting original music, but it's also like they have an aversion from not using like those classic themes from Star Wars, like the Star Wars fanfare, the Yoda's theme, the Imperial theme, like it's there sometimes, but like my biggest complaint with Obi-Wan is the trailer for it expertly used prequels music, and then in the show we just got like low key synth music the entire time, and there was absolutely nothing. Even the whole like, oh, George or John Williams wrote his final Star Wars thing as the theme for, and that's fine. But like, where's the rest of his stuff? Like, that's Star Wars to me too. And you have these leitmotifs that evoke like emotions and things where like just use it a little bit. And it's like they have an aversion to using it now.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and that's another thing that's always been on my mind is the music.
Yeah. Well, you're a musician too, so like you're kind of the same way as me.
Yeah, I don't get it. Um, the the biggest culprit for me was like the Obi-Wan series, because that, if any series, that's the
Hmm.
one that should have had those themes in it.
Yes.
That's the one that should have had Battle of the Heroes, Duel of Fates, Imperial March, whatever. And we got a little bit of Imperial March the very last like 5 minutes of the last episode, but like that's the one series that needed to have some of those classic themes, right? And it
Battle
just,
of Heroes at the very least. Like,
yeah,
come on. Yeah.
because it was like, it sounded like one of those like network television like type show music. It didn't sound like Star
Yes.
Wars.
It's like when someone wants, like in a TV show, like in a sitcom, they're doing something that mimics Star Wars, so they have like a parody of Star Wars. That's how I felt when Rogue One, when we were like sitting in the theaters watching Rogue One, and like that opening fanfare theme, where I'm like, that kind of sounds like Star Wars, but it sounds like they couldn't get the rights or didn't want to pay for the rights to the Star Wars music, so they used
Exactly.
something that was Star Wars adjacent, like legally distinct but different.
Yeah.
And like they own it, like this it's theirs,
Yeah.
just like why not?
Yeah, and even things as simple as like when the Mandalorian episode starts, it's like chapter one, the
Yeah,
title, chapter two, the
sure,
title. Book
yeah,
of Boba Fett did the same thing, but then you get to Ahsoka, and it's like part one in
yeah.
the title. It's like I don't know, it just, little things like that really pull me out of it, the fantasy.
I agree. I agree. I really think like I know they're made by a different team, but especially with those things that are in the same universe, like there's overlap with especially Ahsoka. Like there's no reason they shouldn't have done Ahsoka to make the credits and stuff look the exact same way. They should have had the credit art at the end, just like they did with their, because that makes people feel like it belongs in the same universe, as opposed to having just a completely different thing. So
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, that is true. I will say Ahsoka did have kind of a cool like outro though, with
Oh
the
sure, it was a
opening
banger. It
minutes.
was a banger, but it's also the visuals is what I'm talking about there. Like
Yeah,
it
yeah.
didn't look the same, and so like every time there's a new show, every time we watch a new episode of it, every time my wife asks, "Okay, so when does this take place in Star Wars?" Like and it's not just her. There's so many people that just they don't know because it's all over the place. Like you were saying, like you're watching The Acolyte or you're watching Obi-Wan, you're watching Andor. Like they jump all over the place, so people can't keep any of that stuff straight. And it's like I don't expect them to. Not everyone is on the spectrum like me and just can inherently pick up where, where these are in the time frame from social cues and whatnot. Just because of that's how my brain works.
Yeah. No, I hear you there for sure. Um, but yeah, we'll see what happens. I did hear that there's a new trilogy. Um,
That's the
that
rumor.
that's the rumor, that there's a new Star Wars trilogy. So I think we're gonna start winding down our conversation here, but
Sure.
I do want to at least mention what the rumor is. So this is from Variety, which Variety, reputable, saying that from Simon Kinberg of X-Men fame is developing a trilogy of three films. Obviously, it's a trilogy with Kathleen Kennedy. It says this is a new series with new characters after Rise of Skywalker, with Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Adam Driver, and Oscar Isaac. Or no, it's after. Sorry, I was getting confused. It doesn't have all of them in it because some of them are dead. Shocker.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it says it's after that film. So yeah, not a lot of details on it, other than it just being, I guess it's episodes 10, 11, and 12, I guess is what it sounds like from this rumor.
There are some people that backed like IGN. I think IGN print, like they made a post or something saying that they were wrong about it being 10, 11, and 12, or didn't mean to insinuate that it was
Mm.
10, 11, and 12. It's just a new trilogy. It's kind of like Ryan Johnson's doing a trilogy, but it's not like the next episodes.
Yeah, and then the Game of Thrones guys were doing a trilogy, and then
Yeah,
it's
but not
like,
anymore. I think they
uh,
want.
yeah, I don't know what to if I
Yeah,
should put any stock in this. I mean, yeah, it's
that's the
probably
thing.
an
Yeah,
actual thing because it's being reported by
yeah.
Variety, but at the same time, it's like, is it going to happen?
Well, they
That's like
all
where
were
I'm
a thing at some point. Like Taika Waititi announced that he was doing one, and now, like, who knows if he's still doing it?
Yeah,
You
and then
know,
there was the
Patty.
James Mangold Star Wars
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
the
Patty
Patty
Jenkins
Jenkins.
was doing one, and then not doing one, but now is maybe doing it again. Like it's all over the place.
Yeah, I yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not against it because for any specific reason. It's just I'm just tired of like them about rumors and them announcing things and them never coming to fruition. It just I'd rather them just not. I don't know. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
frustrating.
I agree. I just to kind of I'm gonna pull it back here. That Ken said something about a yak face post. There
Yes,
are a lot of
I'll pull that up
TV
too.
TVC figures on here that I don't think are out yet, or they're like the next wave of figures that are coming out, as
Yeah.
well as some Black Series stuff.
Here, I'll pull up the image right here. So yeah, this is a post within the last hour from Yakface of new products um, that have been showing up in the US. It doesn't say where these were found, doesn't look like, but yeah, so there's Black Series, a few figures here, Super Battle Droid and Clone 2
Yeah,
pack.
that hasn't even been announced yet.
No, it
That's
hasn't.
yeah.
TVC, I think those are all figures we're aware of at least.
Yeah, I think so too. They
Um,
just aren't out. So I'm actually getting the next wave of Black Series. That the wave with that Basil and Luke Skywalker and Leia. That should be at my house on Wednesday from Toy Snowman in Canada.
nice. Um, yeah. So yeah, maybe these things came on the same boat as the other stuff we were talking about earlier.
Probably.
But yeah, too much all at once. And again, I go back to Hasbro. Give us a break here because you're gonna
Give us a
start
break.
losing. If you're losing me, like if you're losing Victoria's Cantina
Right?
on the vintage collection, I'm
Right?
sure you're losing other people. So
Or they already have lost other people. Like I feel like you're one of the last bastions that would start dropping off.
yeah, yeah, and there are people that I know that were like doing the same thing. One, two of each, one to keep carded, one to open, and some of them aren't even doing the carded completion thing anymore.
Sure.
Um, anyway, I guess we'll leave it there. I mean, hopefully the future of Star Wars is bright. I like to think that it will be because it's Star Wars, and we want the best for Star Wars.
Yep. That's all
But we
anyone
also,
wants.
demand the quality of that title, and the immersiveness and the story and just the overall joy that Star Wars can bring. All right, so we're going to wind things down here with our final segment. New acquisitions, things that we've added to our collections, is our show and tell segment of Cantina Social Hour.
Good. New acquisitions.
All right, so we're going to talk about what we've added to our collections. I always let the guests go first, so Mike will go first, then I will. And then my friends here in the chat, if you're watching live, let us know what you've added to your collections as well. So Mike, anything brand new that's come in recently?
Yeah, I just got last week I got the 2-pack of the Mandos from Walmart, and I did a video on them. So that was a lot of fun to do, and you could go on my channel if you want to watch that video. I do on Wednesday actually have the next wave of Black Series figures coming in, and that includes the A New Hope Luke and Leia and Vernestra Rowe and Basil and one other person I can't think of right now. So I'm excited to get that on Wednesday. But that's all I got.
Nice. Right on. Well, I was talking a lot about everything that's come in lately, so I do have a few things to show. So I mentioned earlier that I did receive the latest wave of TVC, and actually, Social Hour last week, I talked about how I got a brand new box from Entertainment Earth that I hadn't opened, and I was guessing that it was the latest wave of TVC. Well, it was. I got 2 cases of the latest wave of TVC. I haven't even taken them out of the box, so I guess we can do that together real quick here. See what's in here. We got Skeleton Crew. We got Jod Neth, as he was renamed.
Did they rename him?
Yeah, me and Jay from Geek Dad Life
renamed him
to Jod Neth because Jod
Wood
is one of the most horrible names in all Star Wars.
It's so terrible. So bad.
It is so bad. But yeah, here he is. Yeah. Jude Law is an action figure. And I think we also decided he looked like Phil Collins. So
a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Okay, so there's that. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out a good place to put these. How about over here? Who else is in this case? We got the Mandalorian Imperial base from season 3 of Mando with the Stormtrooper jetpack.
Yep.
Very unnecessary figure, but
Black Series has to make our own because the Mines of Mandalore or the Ringworld one will fit the backpack from the Imperial Commando. So you have to just buy both of those if you want to do that.
Jetpack Trooper from Jedi Survivor.
Nice.
Yeah, this one's cool, but I would rather have had the ones Black Series got from season 3.
Yeah.
The Beskar Mandos. I would rather have had that. Let's see. Another Jod Neth right here. I thought it was only one per case of that, but whatever. Hopefully he sells through. We got Bo-Katan from season 3. She has the new shoulder armor. I think that's the only thing new. She should have had a new head. Very least. Picture's pretty cool though. What else is in here? K2SO from Andor season 2.
Nice.
This is way early.
Yep.
Way early. Hasbro doesn't usually release figures that early from series that haven't come out yet. We got Ahsoka Tano, Ahsoka the White. Yeah, cool. And I mean, I'll say it in a minute. And then Grand Admiral Thrawn from Ahsoka. And I know we don't like this sculpt for Thrawn. He's too short, and yeah, this was kind of an unfortunate one. But
yeah, they just stuck a new head on the old body, right?
Yeah, that's what they did. So I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Nothing in this wave is overly exciting to me. It's one of the most bland waves ever in TVC. Anyway, that's the acquisition. I'm not really here to talk in depth about it. All right. So another thing that came in this week, the Armorer's Forge from Vintage Collection. Probably going to set it up this weekend somewhere. Where? I have no idea. I have no earthly idea. Same with this right here. The Moff Gideon's Imperial Light Cruiser Hallway. I have no idea where it's going to go. 2 play sets within the same week. Like, that's just wild. Like, that never happened.
That's too much. Yeah.
That's too much. And then the E-Wing, which hasn't come in yet. Otherwise, I'd be showing it too. That one is coming in from Disney Store, I think, within the next few days. And then one other thing. So this week, Disney reopened Magic Keys, their annual passes for Disneyland. I haven't had a Magic Key in 10 years because I used to live 20 minutes from Disneyland and I was there all the time. And then I moved to San Diego, and then I was not 20 minutes from Disneyland. I was a little bit farther. So I was not there all the time, and I just stopped buying annual passes, and then they got more expensive, and I didn't like everything that was going with the parks. Well, I broke down one of my acquisitions is that I did get a Magic Key, so that I can go a little more frequently. That way, I have some really great friends that they usually sign me into the park, so I don't even buy tickets like these days, but I don't like bothering people, so I'm like, I'm just gonna buy my own pass. It's dangerous because I could be there more often. I could be buying stuff more often.
Yep.
So that's one acquisition that I can't really show, but I can talk about. And then I have one more from my friend Peter, who is also known as the BotTube Bounty Hunter. He goes to Galaxy's Edge to Disneyland, and he buys things for me and other people as well. And he was nice enough. These have been out of stock for a long time, and I've been wanting one. I'd never picked one up. Now I have it. So from the creature stall over at Galaxy's Edge, I got my very own Kowakian monkey lizard. And this is his cage. I haven't opened it yet. I haven't opened this box at all, so I'll just do that really quick here. And we can all take a look at him together. And there is something else in this box, too. This is... All right, so there's something in here. Okay, I think there's... I'll show what's in here first. So in this bag, as you guys know, you can build your own lightsaber at Savi's workshop, and I've done that before. And, it's fun. But if you build a lightsaber, you can also buy spare parts exclusively in Disneyland. You can't do that at Disney World. So my friend Peter was there building a lightsaber for somebody else, and he offered to get me some spare parts. So I got a couple spare parts for my black Sith lightsaber. So let's see. Right here I have a control box right there. And I think this is the other part of it. This is the other half of it right here. So basically it just goes together like that. Wait, no, not quite like that. Like this. And this is the on-off switch. So, I like having spare parts because I like mixing things up sometimes. So there was that. There's also there's one other piece, one other spare part, and that is this one piece that can go on the lightsaber. I didn't buy these last time, but now I have them. So little by little, I'm getting more parts for my sabers. And then, okay, let's pull the monkey lizard out of his box. So there's two of these. There's a neutral one that looks like Return of the Jedi, like Salacious B. Crumb, and then there's more of like a rainbow, like colored one. So I just got the regular one, or Peter picked up the regular one for me. So thank you, Peter. Yeah, I've wanted one of these for a long time, so I'm glad to have it.
It's cute.
It is cute. I don't know that, like, in terms of size, like, I don't know, like, what the scale is supposed to be with this. He kind of opens his mouth a little bit. I'm probably not doing it right. Moves his head a little bit. But yeah, what should I name him, you guys? Let me know what his name should be. Is it Salacious B. Crumb, or is this somebody else?
I feel like it could be something else. It's more fun that way.
Yeah, I want to get the rainbow one too, because it's not really rainbow, but the other one.
It's like a macaw. It's like a parrot kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I want to get that one too. He's a decent size. I mean, like.
It could just be like a juvenile one. Like it doesn't,
Yeah, or that. That's fine too. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put him back in his box. But yeah, you guys let me know what I should name him. I have a name in mind now, but I don't know if I have two names in mind, but I'll see what you guys say. Anyway, those are my acquisitions for this week. So that's it. And I'll read through what you guys have been adding to your collections, and then we will be done for tonight. Where did you get the Forge from? I got it from DisneyStore.com. Like I said, 25% off right now on that. So that is available. I think Pulse has it too, but for full price. Mary says she got the TVC Imperial Light Cruiser Hallway, the E-Wing, and the Hot Toys BT1. Very nice on BT1.
Nice.
Let's see. Miranda says, John Neth, first year we've gotten before the media count ages. Yeah, and he is
True.
John Neff. He definitely is John Neff. Hellrunner Base has got the Armorer's Forge. Cool set. Also found the awesome new Micro Galaxy Squadron Series 7 Phantom 2 in the rare Maul's Night Brother at Target. By the way, if anyone has a lead on a Sith infiltrator, or not a Sith infiltrator, a Sith starfighter, the Darth Vader Sith starfighter, please let me know. I really want to add that to my collection. I don't really buy those, but that's one I do want. Let's see. Is he broiled or fried? I don't know. I don't know what that's referring to. Britt says, got the Black Series Return of the Jedi Luke finally. Nice. William went to a convention and picked up Jabba's dancers, Revenge of the Sith, Katie Mundi, and a loose AAT with Droid, nice. TVC Wicket, Pat Blue, Chirrut, Klaatu, and Super Battle Droid. Nice. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anyone here. Adam says, I got my KE4N4 figure, whatever that was, that came back with it, the E-Wing. That's what I mean. It's like paywall behind this vehicle you only need one of. 17.28 got the Vintage Collection E-Wing as well. J-Dog got the E-Wing, Armor's Forge, GBC Mando 4-pack, and the Blurg. Rogue Killer just received the E-Wing and Imperial Light Cruiser playset. Charlie got the Fighting Armor Cyclops and Magneto by Sentinel 112 scale. Pico B1 got the E-Wing and the Retro 6-pack. All the cards are bent. Ugh. My favorite thing I required this week. Tomorrow I get a couch in my collection room.
Nice.
Nice. Couches are good. Couches are good. You could sit on a couch. You can use it. I think that's everybody. I hope that's everybody. Oh no. Fetmatic got the E-Wing and the new SHF, A New Hope Vader. I think that's the repack, I want to say. They brought it back. July through November, I got clobbered with the Armor's playset, E-Wing, Imperial Light Cruiser, and the newest wave of figures, Jump Trooper wave. That's exactly what I'm talking about right there. Clobbered is the right word. Yeah, I think that's everybody. Dachin went to a flea market last Saturday and got a replacement Dilophosaurus McDonald's Collector's Cup Series 1 Electronic Raptor and alternative head Roland Tembo for $6. Nice. Cute Colt says, name the Kawaki Monkey Lizard Deferenza. I don't know. It's an interesting name. Salacious B. Skywalker, Trevor says. Salacious B. No. That's good, Trevor.
That's funny. That's funny.
Runner Base, check the Jazzware site. Yeah, I think the Vader Sith Starfighter was a chase thing, so I don't know if they would have that. And Bob got the Jod Wave and E-Wing. Cool. So for the Monkey Lizard, I'm thinking either Mitch or Fred. No particular reason. Those are just the two names that come to mind.
Both work.
Both work.
Fred's kind of funny because of how normal it is.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm thinking Fred.
Yeah.
Fred. Yeah. I might go with Fred. Let's name him Fred.
Fred it is.
And shout out to Kevin Johns. Got a brand new channel member. Thank you, Kevin. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the Cantina within the Cantina. We really appreciate you. Charlie says my aunt had a bird named Fred. Yeah, all right. Yeah, Fred it is. Cool. Well, you guys, we've been going for almost 2.5 hours here. A long time, but it's every minute of it's been fun. Even though the show has been, it's been a nice diversion, I will say,
sure,
to everything going on this week. But like I said at the beginning of the show, everybody's always welcome at this Cantina, no matter who you are, no matter your background. If you feel like you don't belong anywhere else, this Cantina is for you. We welcome you. We support you. And, we're here if if you need. So please reach out. And if you've been tuning in to this show, we really appreciate you hanging out with us on your Friday night Cantina Social Hour, your valuable time. Thank you for spending it with us. We really appreciate it. And Mike, thank you so much for coming on and hanging out and
Always a
talking
pleasure.
some Star Wars
Yeah.
with me.
Always a pleasure. I love talking Star Wars, and I like talking to you. So it just kind of works well that they're both the same thing sometimes.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, it's a blast hanging out with you. And yeah, so let us know where can we go to look you up online.
Sure. I have a YouTube channel, just Mike Kaess, just like it says on the screen. I just changed my Instagram to Mike.Case, so there's a little bit of synergy there. I'm also on Blue Sky and Threads. I'm no longer on Twitter.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. And I do have
Yeah.
links down below, and I did put your Twitter there, but
I mean, they could go there. It's not gone. I'm just not going to post there anymore. So,
yeah, sounds good. I'm kind of
yeah.
leaning the same towards doing the same thing. And I did just sign up for Blue Sky yesterday, so I haven't
Yeah.
even really used it yet, but I do have an account there now. If anyone's on Blue Sky, look me up as well.
I
But yeah,
had a conversation today with a stranger about classical music. I've never done that on Twitter, and we both disagreed on something, but we had fun chatting. So it was fun.
so you're telling me it's like Twitter was like 5 years
Yes.
ago.
Yeah,
Okay.
100%. Yeah.
All right.
So far, so far.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, thanks again, Mike. And we have links to your channel and your Instagram as well down in the description. So you guys, if you're not following Mike for whatever reason, definitely make sure you do that.
Thank you.
And you have great posts, Mike. Like they're always
Thank
entertaining
you.
and fun. So
I try to make it fun. It's toys, so should be, right?
yeah, for sure. But yeah, thank you guys very much. Really appreciate you. Remember, new song releasing on Tuesday. Haunted House. Haunted House is coming. And I'll talk about that more next week, next show. So we will be back next Friday. Remember the new time, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. And thank you guys as always. I love you guys, and I appreciate you as always. Thanks for keeping the community here positive and for contributing to our environment here that we maintain here at the Cantina. So no matter where you're tuning in from around the galaxy, thank you for watching Victoria's Cantina as always. We will see you here next week at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. And once again, thank you for hanging out. Be well, be safe. May the force be with you. We will see you next time. Mike, stay put for just a moment. And everyone else, I will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much.